see the light. I'm feeling high, my little lady. I'm gonna take it to the other side. You know I used to smoke too much. You know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and you can get me high, high, high. You know I used to smoke too much, and you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and we're gonna get real. I'm feeling good, my little lady. She's gonna take me to the other side. I'm feeling nice, my little lady. She's gonna roll till I drop to the break of dawn. Never gonna stop, she's gonna treat me right. I'm feeling good, my little lady. She's gonna take me to the other side. You know I used to smoke too much, and you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and you can get me high, high, high. You know I used to smoke too much, and you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and we're gonna get real. Come on, baby. Let's take a ride. I don't know where we're gonna go, but first, let's dance. You know I used to smoke too much, and you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and you can get me high, high, high. You know I used to smoke too much, and you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and we're gonna get real. Oh.
Hi everyone, Dan here, and I just wanted to put a little snippet about AstroWorld and what we do because I want to start getting the word out because I think it's becoming more and more of a giant community, and I want to get the word out to some other people. So what we do at AstroWorld is we hold astrophotography chats on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. and Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And we just talk astrophotography. Wednesday's more of a techie kind of advanced intermediate, and Fridays is more of a newbie kind of thing. So if you want to check us out, and if you want to, hang out with some semi-decent people that like to go off the rails a little bit and have fun while they're doing it, come check us out at astroworldweb.com, and you can check out the schedule, and you can sign up for all the free giveaways that we do. We just gave away an Eagle 4 Pro, an Optolong filter kit, Charles Brackenstein's books, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So come to astroworldweb.com, hang out with us, have a good time, and as always, remember to keep imaging, keep educating, and clear sky. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Things are becoming intense. I rip my jeans on your fence, hiding away from your man. Oh, it's a passion. Oh, tell the tale of 1,000 lonely days. Yeah, she's a real thing. Yeah, only I can make a change. If you want to be together, caught in the rain, standing here calling your name. Guess I got no one to blame. Yeah, it's a small town. Yeah, all the people turn and stare. Oh, it's a secret. Hey, let them see me. I don't care if you want to be together. It's so good to be together with you. If you want to be together. If you want to be together, it's so good to be together with you. If you want to be together, say you want to be together. I'm feeling really guilty, but it feels so bad. Yeah, so good to be together. We did it before, we can do it again. I'm tearing out my hair, cause I don't know when so good. You want to be together. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's so good to be together. Yeah, so damn good. If you want to be together, it's so good, it's so good, yeah. What the hell? The lost Lone Ranger, can I break this spell? One thing right, who I make used to things wrong. If I want to stand my line, who I will always take the fall. If I just do left, I can lead from the right. I sleep all day long, and then I'm dreaming through the night.
I wonder what it was that made me want you. She couldn't understand what made me hard.
She's climbing in and out my open window. I'm laying here alone and cold and drained. Yeah. So take another breath and come up for your oxygen. And now you wanna kiss the flesh and blood of every man, every man. And when the moon is full and the wolves will howl, she swam across the lake just to get to my house.
looks upon a world that's dark and tangled. I never saw her turn her head and shame. She's standing out the open window. I'm lying here alone, cold and gray. So take another breath and come up for your oxygen. Hey, you know you wanna kiss the flesh and blood of every man, every man. Well, we all took turns and you swallowed the world. I never realized till you said we lost man. And she said, I want more, every more disgusting stuff. A little bit of disgusting stuff. Disgusting stuff. Oh, you're making me stop.
I'm feeling high, my little lady. I'm gonna take it to the other side. I'm feeling strong, my little lady. I'm gonna keep her moving on. I'm gonna run till I drop to the break of dawn. Never gonna stop till I see the light. I'm feeling high, my little lady. I'm gonna take it to the other side. You know I used to smoke too much. And you know I used to drink too much. Take my heart and get me high. You know I used to smoke too much. And you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car. We're gonna get real. I'm feeling good, my little lady. She's gonna take me to the other side. I'm feeling nice, my little lady. She's gonna keep me moving on. I'm gonna run till I drop to the break of dawn. Never gonna stop, gonna treat me right. I'm feeling good, my little lady. She's gonna take me to the other side. You know I used to smoke too much. And you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car and you can get me high, high, high. You know I used to smoke too much. And you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car and we're gonna get real. Come on, baby. Let's take a ride. I don't know where we're gonna go, but first, let's dance. You know I used to smoke too much. And you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car and you can get me high, high, high. You know I used to smoke too much. And you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car and we're gonna get real. Oh,
Hi, everyone. Dan here, and I just wanted to put a little snippet about AstroWorld and what we do because I want to start getting the word out because I think it's becoming more and more of a giant community, and I want to get the word out to some other people. So what we do at AstroWorld is we hold astrophotography chats on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. and Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And we just talk astrophotography. Wednesday's more of a techie kind of advanced intermediate, and Fridays is more of a newbie kind of thing. So if you want to check us out, and if you want to, hang out with some semi-decent people that like to go off the rails a little bit and have fun while they're doing it, come check us out at astroworldweb.com, and you can check out the schedule, and you can sign up for all the free giveaways that we do. We just gave away an Eagle 4 Pro, an Optolong filter kit, Charles Brackenstein's books, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So come to astroworldweb.com, hang out with us, have a good time, and as always, remember to keep imaging, keep educating, and clear skies. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Deborah, things are becoming intense. I ripped my jeans on your fence, hiding away from your man. Oh, it's a passion. Oh, tell a tale of 1,000 lonely days. Yeah, she's the real thing. Yeah, only I can make a change. If you want to be together, it's so good to be together with you. If you want to be together, Deborah, I'm getting caught in the rain, standing here calling your name. Guess I got no one to blame. Yeah, it's a small town. Yeah, all the people turn and stare. Oh, it's a secret. Hey, let them see me. I don't care. If you want to be together, it's so good to be together with you. If you want to be together, if you want to be together, it's so good to be together with you. If you want to be together, say you want to be together. I'm feeling really good, but it feels so bad. Yeah, so good to be together. We did it before, we can do it again.
All right. How we doing, everybody? We got some special peoples here tonight. What's happening? So we got some good stuff going on tonight. We got as everybody knows, and I was on, believe it or not, I don't know if you guys caught this. I was on Global Star Party last night at Explore Scientific, pumping the show. So we have 31 people watching already, but somebody already said it. We only got 14 likes. We only got 14 thumbs up. So all you guys, people, when you come in, you got to hit that thumbs up. And I blew Eric's thunder right now, but I just saw it in the chat.
It's all good. Take it, man. It's all good.
You know, and I got PhD guiding beeping in my ears. So if I look disconnected, maybe that's what it is. And I don't know what it is because I was supposed to get some clouds a little bit later. But I think I got my flattener issue solved. And I'm down to... I can't believe how much a half a millimeter makes with the flattener from astrophysics. Half a millimeter went from a 31% curvature to an 11, and I think that's a sweet spot. I'm good. I'm not touching it. That's it. So 11% curvature and 4% tilt. I'm done. So that's it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
but we should go over some of our upcoming guests before we get to Wayne, and Sean is with us. Sean from visibledark.ca. Everybody knows Sean. So let's do the sponsors really quick, and we'll get down to brass tacks and see what's going on with the SkyShed Pod-S and what's going on at SkyShed Observatories. So all right, so let's see. Sponsors. Where's the sponsor button?
Sponsors.
Yeah, there we go. So tonight we're actually giving away a $50 gift certificate to Woodland Hills Camera and Telescopes. They are one of our sponsors. So if you're not a sponsor and you want to become a sponsor, feel free to hit me up at dan@astroworldweb.com. For anybody who's watching that's a corporate sponsor. We'll get to our member sponsors in a little bit, but thank you to them. $50 gift certificate going out tonight. Our Red Giant level sponsors, Prima Luce Lab, Camera Concepts, and Optolong. Optolong just got done with their Lunar New Year celebration, so I'm waiting to hear on what kind of goodies they're going to give us this year. So looking forward to getting more filters and stuff from them. They were really generous to us last year. Gave us 2 sets of SHO, LRGB sets,
LRGBs, planetary, a 1 1/4 planetary set.
So I mean, it was like $3,500 worth of filters retail. So it's really kind of cool. And of course, Masters of PixInsight and IP for AP have been super generous to us and giving us. We're literally giving away a free Masters of PixInsight class every Friday till the end of the year. So that's pretty cool. And IP for AP, 1 free yearly subscription to them per month for the rest of the year too. So thank you to them. We have one of our off the rails members with us right now. Sean Nielsen is at visibledark.ca is our first off the rail member. Followed by Bob D'Amato. So thank you to them for their support. Followed by our Quasar members, John Gambali and Dr. Ascari, who's a friend of mine who's living out in Ohio. Thank you so much. Our Black Hole members, Charity. Oh, it skipped too much. Charity, George, and Mike. Thank you so much. All of which, all you guys that I'm talking about right now better be coming to NEAF. You better be coming. I just found out some good news, and I'll do it when we can see all of our faces. Somebody else is going to be there who I've never met, and I probably will never be where he lives. I wish I would get on a plane to go there, but it'd be interesting, and I'll talk about that in a second. But we got more member sponsors on Patreon, our Red Giant members, Main Sequence members, and our Protostar members on YouTube. So thank you so much to everybody for your support. If you don't know what I'm talking about and you would like to become a member sponsor, join us on our Patreon membership. Go to patreon.com and check us out at AstroWorld TV. Some upcoming guests. Tonight we have Wayne Parker. we have Wayne Parker from SkyShed Observatories. So we're looking forward to hearing, what is that? The compressor going off again?
Yeah, it's like, what is that?
So Wayne's actually in his workhouse right now, so you might hear some funny stuff. Steve Malia, thank you, Sean, for getting Steve on the show. Steve Malia from Starfield Optics. We've all seen the pictures that Sean's been taking with that 8-inch, right, Sean? 8-inch astrograph?
Yep. Yeah, an 8-inch.
Yeah, so awesome, and looking forward to hearing more about Starfield, because really popular in Canada, not so much in the US, and hopefully we can pump him up down here a little bit. So that's going to be awesome. Bob
Steve
Denny,
will be great.
Oh, in between, I didn't. There's something going on between on the 15th. So on the 15th, we are going to have Richard Wright live sometime during the day from Winter Star Party. So he's going to be with internet, if it works and everything. He's going to be doing a live run around on the show sometime during the day. Don't know a time, so be on the lookout for a live stream from Richard Wright over at Winter Star Party. Bob Denny on the 22nd. He's been here before. He's going to talk about ASCOM Alpaca again and all the new stuff going on with ASCOM. Yep. Followed by the return of Ivo Stoyanov from APT. We haven't heard from him since March, and it's going to be nice to see what kind of new updates he has planned after 2.0 for APT. So it's going to be interesting to see. And then Warren Keller on April 5th. So it's going to be a lot of people coming on. So join us, get all the information on our Discord channel, because that's where a lot of people talk. And we're also on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, and all that. So thank you so much for everybody dealing with me for the last 7 minutes. And that's about my spiel, about 7 minutes. But I've got it timed pretty good. There's a little bit long. We got a lot of guests coming on every Wednesday until I think March. Every Wednesday in February, 2 in March. I think we have 2 weeks off, and then we got Warren in April, and then it's Neef. So, I mean, we're booked up pretty much until April with the guarding of like maybe 1 or 2 weeks. So, and Eric, I know you got your spiel, so I'll let you do yours. So,
let me see here. Let me check the count here. All right. Right now, we got 30 watching, but only 20 thumbs up on YouTube. What up with that? Do me a favor.
What up with that?
If you are liking what we're doing here, I mean, we got Sean here, we got Wayne here, you got your boy Eric here, you got, Dan here. If you like what we're doing, do us a huge favor. Give us a thumbs up. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, like the show, share the show to public, share the show in your storylines so your friends and everybody can get it into their news feeds. Share it across Twitter. Let everybody know. Tweet it out that AstroWorld TV is out here on the air, and we're on the air every Wednesday and Friday. And we bring in the thunder. We got Sean and we got Wayne here. We bringing out the big guns. We bringing out the guests. So we really appreciate that. So do us a favor. Give us that thumbs up. Let YouTube, let Google know that we are out here and that we're bringing you guys the content you really want to see and that you guys are enjoying. So we really appreciate that.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's a, you know what? And you know what? I hate to say it, but I'm a little annoyed right now, Eric. I'm annoyed at you.
Why?
I'm annoyed at you.
Me?
I'm annoyed at you.
I'm annoyed at Eric too. I don't know why, but
I don't know why that Sean is, but he is. All right.
I'm so annoyed at you.
On this? Are you annoyed too? What's up?
So for 3 years you've been on the show.
Yeah.
And
I know.
Every year.
Oh, I know what he's gonna say.
Oh, don't worry. I know where he's getting at.
Every year that it was your
Every year,
birthday, I was the first one to say happy birthday to you.
But you know what?
Birthday.
You know what? You're right. And that's on me because, and you know what? We're the kids.
Where the
Put it
kids?
in
I
your
thought they were
watch or
I
something,
actually
man.
thought they were going to come down and, you know, do the spiel like they did for me. But you know what? You know,
I don't need all that.
I know.
Happy birthday, Dan. Happy birthday.
But
Thank
for real,
you.
man, happy
I was talking to you earlier.
birthdays. Happy birthday there, young man, you know, and many more. You know, give, you know, AstroWorld, show the love to Dan.
Yeah.
Oh, Robin even just said it, right? You know, I even heard it.
I heard something. Hi, Robin.
So you're absolutely right, man. But happy
I'm
birthday.
only busting your chops, bro. I love
I
you.
know,
You know that.
I know. It's all good. It's all good. We've been doing this for 3 years. I love it. Love you, man. Many more. Enjoy this day. I hope you had a great day. And another rotation around this around the sun. So let's do it.
Cool.
Appreciate
Yeah,
that, but
congrats.
I do need to come attention to one thing because it's public knowledge now. So I gotta send some well wishes to a watcher on the show who did have a heart attack over the past couple days. Hogarth's astronomy, Hogarth's astrophotography. He doesn't like to use his real name online, but he knows who he is. I just want to say, hey, you know, we hope that, you know, your recovery, he's okay. He's got a stent in his heart now. It was on the Discord, but he's recovering now, and we wish him a speedy recovery. And hope you and your family do a whole lot better and get out of hospital, buddy. We need more pictures of the week from you. So
Absolutely, man.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes,
Well,
wishes. And many prayers out there, and Godspeed, you know, and Godspeed to it, you know, getting back on your feet in a positive and healthy recovery.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So
Yeah.
we do have one piece of good news before we get to Wayne.
All right.
So NEAF is coming in April, right? So
Yep.
I've been trying to get, you know, I had nothing with getting this person there, but it looks like there's going to be more AstroWorld people there than expected. So it looks like that Simon Lewis is going to be there with ZWO.
Wow.
Pete Myers is obviously going to be there with Woodland Hills. Looks like Tyler is going to be there, you know, because me and Simon have been busting his chops for about 3 days now about why he's not coming. So
Yep.
I think he's finally given in. So I think he's coming. So it looks like we're going to have a lot of people. The only person that I don't know if is coming or not that's been a host on the show is well, Sean, you're not going, right?
I don't know yet. I have to figure it out if I can actually do it or not.
All right. Well,
Okay.
you know, it's good.
I want to.
If you do come, you're more than welcome to hang out at the AstroWorld table and chill. You know.
Yeah, that's probably where I'd be.
You know,
Just
we're gonna be
loitering
running
around there.
Me and Eric probably gonna be running around with a microphone doing interviews with people and just running around. So, you know, and we got our own table. We got internet at the table. We got electric at the table. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. So come down, hang out. You know, if you know, you're more than welcome to chill at the table. I'm gonna be at NEAC. I bought my ticket to NEAC.
Do you have a hotel room then that you've booked as well, or?
I don't know where I'm staying. I know Eric is staying at the Sheraton in Mahwah. I don't know where I'm staying because me and Pete hooked up, so we're going to be staying in the same hotel.
And that's what Pete said. If he was planning on staying, was at the Sheraton.
I think that's where he's going. It all depends on what him and Farah over at Woodland Hills figure out. So I mean,
right.
You know, and I gotta write a check to Farah, I'm sure, on my part of the hotel. So, anyway, so that's the good news. So it looks like it's going to be interesting. And I'm sorry, one more last note. I have an editor's, I guess, revision to some things that I've said on the show. And Eric, you're going to beat me up for this. So I apparently said something wrong on many occasions. And it's a little embarrassing because I know I read something somewhere. And this is what happens when you read stuff on the internet and you believe it. You know, and I'm serious. From reputable sources, this is not this is not something where you think it's fake news or whatever. I've been saying for a long time that the AM5 only has harmonic drives in one axis. And I know I read that somewhere. Or I believed it in my head and I made it up. I don't know. But they do not. It has it in both axes. I got confirmation from Simon at ZWO that they have it in both axes. And so I apologize to everybody that I gave out the wrong information. And they do have harmonic drives in both. So I do apologize about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard that too, though, Dan. I heard that as well. So
There you go.
yeah,
Well,
misinformation can be spread very easily online, right?
Yeah, and I saw something on Cloudy Nights saying that there was they were confused about it as well. So I said, let me get it from at least the person that I know the most that deals with a lot of ZWO stuff. And I said, Simon, what's the deal here? Because I've seen it that it's only got it in one axis, and that was one of the selling points of the Knicks was that it has it in two axes.
Two axes, yeah.
So that was the $1,000 difference conversation that we've had a couple of times on the show.
Yeah.
Right.
It turns out that it's more apples to apples here than I thought, and that I can't wait to, oh my goodness, finally test it out and see.
You got one.
I got one, and so
lucky duck.
Yeah, so I'm waiting. It's funny. I got the mount before the tripod. I don't know how that happened, but so I'm waiting on the tripod.
Tripods, you can get that. That's something quicker. The mounts take time, and you on the back order, man. You like one of the first ones in the country, probably.
I don't know. I got lucky, and Camera Concepts only they ordered 3 and they sold 2, so I bought the 3rd. So
there you go. Hey.
If I wasn't there the day that they came in, it probably would have been gone.
Yeah.
The Knicks has some extra features though that the AM5 doesn't. Am I wrong in that?
No, you're right. It's a higher weight capacity.
Yeah.
They do 44 pounds without a counterweight, as opposed to I think it's 23 or 26 with the ZWO.
Ooh, that's a big difference.
The ZWO do 44 width. I think it's 57 width with the Knicks.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot of scopes, a lot of small scopes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it has it's got it doesn't have encoders. No. That's incorrect.
No encoders, but it does have the dual harmonic axis.
But it does have the dual harmonic. But just like with the AM5 and the Knicks, I do like and I appreciate, unlike Ioptron, which I'm a little disappointed in, is they have right off the bat the dual saddle for Vixen and for D.
Yes.
So right off the bat there, it's ready to roll.
That's a weird design.
It is
Ioptron.
Weird. It is a little
at least
weird,
with the 27.
Honest.
I'm not sure about the 44. But
No, they're the same. They're the same. It's the same setup.
You got to take the whole thing apart to make it a Vixen.
Yeah, it's the same setup.
You got to turn around the bolts and take off this bar and 2 different Allen keys and do all this stuff. And then, God forbid, you want to use a Red Cat on a Vixen, you got to switch it back.
Yeah.
But anyway, Wayne, thank you so much for coming by. Thank you for humoring us for the past 20 minutes. But I digress.
Hey, I'm enjoying it. I'm a fan of the show, so it's just like watching the show. I forgot. I'm down in the corner here on my screen. Thanks a lot for having me, Dan, and great to see you, Eric, and of course happy birthday to you.
Absolutely.
And you look great. Did you get a haircut or something, or you spruced up from earlier when we were doing a test? Maybe
I didn't get a haircut. I don't know what you're talking about.
Dryer out or something.
It's like, oh my God.
Nope.
For your birthday, you're going out later, Dan?
Don't know what you're talking about, Wayne. My hair's always been like this. I don't know what you're talking about.
Dan discovered shampoo and a comb. Go figure that out.
It's actually gel You know,
Nice
a lot of
guy.
gel.
Nice salt and pepper, George Clooney kind of color you got going on there for your 50 seconds. So,
Yep.
pretty cool. And, you know, it was a real bonus for me having when Sean came up, because I was going to say to you earlier, hey, you should bring Sean, because whenever we come on, we may as well come on together. It's a teacher-student thing, the way, you know, the relationship you have with Ron, I have with Sean. And Sean's been my Pix Insight main guy for years now. And I always, people ask me a lot, of course, you know, if you post some decent images, of course, other images that are coming up are going to say, where do I go? How do I learn? What do I do? And I always say, well, I send them to Visible Dark for me, or AstroDoc. You might send to AstroDoc or Masters of Pix Insight and so on. But I'll send to Sean. I'll say, best of all, Sean has a great beginner's tutorial that literally took me from what the heck is this GUI with PI. To the end of the night, I had replicated his M31 data and done a pretty, it was like a cartoon, but still.
You did good.
You know,
Yeah, you did great.
Try it. You know, and I sent it to him and I said, hey, look, this is, and that's why now when I post stuff, it's funny. Hey, Sean, when I post stuff on our Facebook page, and Sean will say, nice. And I'll say, well, you did it. I just, you know, I'm
just follow the instructions.
Follow the video, man. You're processing. I always say, he'll say, I like it. And I say, I have to turn the knobs and sliders, man.
Wayne is the monkey. I'm the genius behind it.
I'm the monkey pulling the lever, you know? And he's the puppet master. The guys who teach us, you know, they're the puppet masters. So whenever I do, if I think I've done a good image, I always want to credit them as well and say, well, really, I'm just the guy pulling knobs and sliders and sort of that kind of stuff. But no, and the last time, if you remember, when I joined you at Astropalooza, I was at Sean's. I was sitting next to Sean, which was a real treat. Thank you, Sean. But I didn't want to have to call Sean every time I was coming on the show. So I thought, what better place than here in my Pod S? Since I was setting up a new computer for Control and Nina and SG Pro and all that stuff, I thought, I got a pocket cam. This is a pocket cam. I'm sure it's, you know, I probably look like a fuzzy ball, but plugged it in, and Dan said it works. So good enough. The reason for the Mylar is I've got a CGXL, a brand new CGXL out of the box in here. I took the scope off right now because I'm at, and as you heard Sean call it, we affectionately call the place we work at the Bat Cave. And people ask me why we call it the Bat Cave, and I say that's with a small b. It's not the capital B. And I'm not Batman. When I first started working here, this is an old factory that's really long, like a tunnel, and it's dark in the corners. And we work a lot at night. We'll work well into the night. If we're on a roll, we'll work till whatever time. We've got, and it's constantly under construction because Bart, my cohort in this, one of the team members, he bought this place, and so it's a moving construction zone as he constantly upgrades, and it's basically a long, kind of dark industrial fabrication place. So they can make anything here, and they make primarily huge lifts for heavy equipment and movement to get tanks, like for the military and stuff. Okay. Well, we can't talk about. But anyway, so I'm very lucky to
tell you, but then he'd have to kill you.
That's right. Sean's been here, and he knows that, and especially there's like a living area with kitchen and a big screen and all that stuff. So it's a great place for astronomers to hang out. We love it when Ron or Sean or Trevor or other local guys stop by. We get to chat, and of course we can talk for hours. It's like the pool hall, you know. We can talk about imaging for hours and give each other a hard time and stuff. So it's a great place to work. We can make. And when we've got an idea, we just go out and fabricate it. We outside the door here is there CNCs and laser machine, not laser. Well, there's some 3D printing. There's a lot of big stuff, and so it's a great place to work on this in secret for 2 years, and then finally during the summer, I said, okay, we're going to tell the people about this in December. And the reason why is because I figured we could ramp up for production for, let's say, late spring. But we've got thousands of SkyShed owners, the Roll-Off, the Pod Max, and coming soon, the Pod S, hopefully. Well, it's coming. I just hope the numbers are big.
Hopefully, I was like, hopefully what?
What? Yeah, no, it's coming. I mean, hey, look at this. You know what? When you guys were doing stuff earlier, I was doing this. You can reach up literally. I can probably do it with one hand, but that's a 350-pound, really, really, really strong, double-walled, again, pound on that thing, tank of a dome, and I'm just reaching up and I can move it like that. That's without there's no motor system on it right now on this one. So that gives you now how smooth. Now there's a little clump there. We kind of like it. You can actually take it out. It's just where the wheels hit the pocket and the joint. We kind of like it. We think it could be a bit of character. We don't try and. I know guys are gonna 3D blocks and put them in there and stuff and make it silent. But there's me reaching up and grabbing a huge dome that is quite substantive. And just rotating it. And of course, if my slot cover was open, I could be, well, I'm inside, but I mean, that's how easy it would be to be imaging. So the reason we wanted to tell everybody back in December was because we needed to get an idea of interest so that we can deal with suppliers. And do we make 50? Do we make 100? Do we make 500? How many do we make? Affects cost, gives us an idea of logistics and planning. So when I was last on Astropalooza, we only had a couple hundred. Now that's doubled. People who are either in line, who are I'm really interested, but I'm not ready to give you any money yet, which is fine. Just means they're at the back of the line. No, no, it just means that those who have put down.
No spot for you.
Yeah, that's right. No
soup for you.
No pot for you. So, but it's coming along. We're at the thing is, a lot of the milestones and stuff that we hit were in secret. A lot of the high fives and stuff were in secret over the last couple of years when we were developing in secret. Now we're down to sort of mundane. In fact, I just got this in my pocket. This is a USB thumb drive. What we were doing for the last couple of hours was working on more measurement drawings. Because if you guys have been to the website, you've seen that we really want to support. We're known for how much support information. We believe a well-informed, well-educated owner is our best owner, and it's a long-term relationship. We're selling you a building that can last for life, and I'm always sorry to say they outlive a lot of their owners. So we don't see it as we're selling you an observatory. We're entering into a relationship. You're on this sort of journey of exploration, and our job is to go down some of that path with you and sort of maybe guide you a little. And sometimes I rip a Band-Aid off and say, no, you really don't want to build a home with your dome in the peak of the roof, stuff like that.
We were talking about that offline. We were talking about that.
Yeah, so sometimes we have to. So part of it, and the beautiful thing for me was when we started this, my wife and I, who's also an astronomer, luckily for me, because I say, hey, I'm buying a RAS 11, and she goes, cool, RAS 11. You know, she's not, she's into it. So, and she understands, and it's also part of our business and expanding. We need equipment to put in our observatories. And I like to kind of stick with, you know, people say, how come you haven't got a 14.5 CDK in there and on an L350 and stuff? And yeah, I guess I could do that. But I kind of like to use what our owners are using to a great extent. I do like buckets. So I got my 14, I've got this thing will have an 11, and I don't do much refractor work and stuff. But, and what I'm sort of getting at is, like I said, we believe in what we're working on today is bird's eye views for people putting in decks, because it's about the practical. We're into really practical astronomy, getting the job done. You guys know that, and Sean, thanks to Sean, I publish pictures. Some would say I cheat because I've got a 14-inch edge in my Hyperstar and a CMOS. So I can, you know, like I said, I can get 14th magnitude in 70 minutes or something. So I'm cheating at Bortle 4. It used to be at Bortle 3. We all have to suffer through light pollution expansion. But, and that's because I devoted my life basically to our owners, to astronomy, to our product line and supporting people. So I needed a setup. I need setup so I can go out that are real fast. I can OSC it, get an hour, get 2 hours, get 3 hours, and back to 30 people who email for people who need a pier, need a pod, we're building a sky shed, want a measurement on what's the angle of the gable. My carpenter's starting tomorrow morning. Can you please answer right away? So it's a 24/7 love of supporting thousands of astronomers. And with Pod S, we had these things in the planning for years. So it was already done years ago in my head, and it was going to be a slotted observatory. So I'm going to tell you some basic features. In fact, I'm going to share my screen for those of you who haven't been to the pod website, Pod S website, and that is SkyShed pod-s.com. And we started with these. These are amazing thing is we stick. Can you guys see the website now?
Yep. You good?
Yep.
Yeah. So this is our original, not our this is our final CAD design shapes and sizes, and we stay true to it because we're making very large cast molds. Think of them like giant waffle makers, and what we're doing is we're making giant waffles. The panels are almost clones. They're 99% the same, and we use a process called rotomolding. All the playgrounds you see, the McDonald's playgrounds, the school playgrounds, a lot of agricultural stuff, calf shelters and tanks, water tanks. They're made from this stuff. It's polyethylene. It lasts for decades. It's earth friendly, and then it can be recycled. But we make these things, and they look pretty well like this. So a year ago, when we were still working on all the nuts and bolts and stuff, we started to put these animations together to show you. And I'm just going to sort of scroll down as I was talking about the materials and stuff. But to give you an idea, I want to give you some overviews. I'm going to keep scrolling down to images. There's a view looking up from the floor of what we call an XL5 with 5 bays, and this gives you a good idea of the slot opening. That opening is 28 inches across. It's about 62 inches long. It's actually about 10 inches past zenith, which is so important. And here's an interesting combination with this design. If you only open the top cover and leave the front slot cover closed, which you have that option, whether manual or motorized, great for, let's say, solar. People are doing solar who want total blockage of sun and just enough to open. Now, of course, the sun has to be high enough, let's say from your forenoon on, prime time, basically, prime imaging time, hopefully, I assume. Or even if you're doing a lot of zenith work and you've got annoying neighbors with street lights or backyard lights, this is going to give you maximum light protection plus wind protection as well, of course. Even though we don't do astronomy and winds that are high enough to affect any of our, whether it's SkyShed roll-off, SkyShed pod max, which is also slotted, but a bigger slot. The kind of winds it takes to affect imaging and stuff, they're too high wind speed to be doing imaging at 25, 35 miles an hour. So the scene becomes pretty crappy. So I'm going to go back and let's see, just close that again. How do I do that? I click, I think here. But we're imagers. And we wanted to build something that would fit most scopes. Did I get rid of that? Is it off the screen?
You're good.
So SkyShedPodS.com. Go there. Oh, you know what? I want to go back there for a second. When I said we believe that an informed way, are you guys seeing again? Yes, right? Now, yeah, you guys seen the site again?
Yep. You're good.
Yep.
Okay. Up at the top, because we believe telling you them way more than any other observatory company in the world. Go to the more info or the FAQ. Frequently asked questions, of course, use a lot of animation of animation. And then, of course, this works on a linear actuator, which is very cool. I could tell you hours about all the cool stuff you're gonna see once we start to show you more of that stuff. But there or here down in the FAQ file, you'll see when I go onto the FAQ page, all we want you to do is go to the site, read that main page, come to this FAQ page, and take a look at this. How about this for information for frequently asked questions?
Oh my God.
Because we're talking to astronomers every day. And I write down, what did they ask? What did he ask that so I don't have to answer it again. No, so I can point you towards this. But what we actually say on this website, we're really busy making pods and making other observatories and working on the development ramp up of Pod S. So what we want you to do is, before you ask us a bunch of questions, come to the website, do us a favor, spend half an hour. If you're really interested in owning an observatory, if Pod S sounds like it might be the right size and the right thing for you, come here, scroll down through all this incredible amount of information, and then go to the fact file, scroll down there. The images we were working on today, the measurements, they're kind of like this. We'll be adding, because a lot of people, when they're building a base, they want to know dimensions. So that's what we were doing today. What's the door threshold? What's this? What's that? But the features that I want to tell you about really quickly. Number one, we're imagers. We understand what you want to do. We know the latest cameras and gear and so on. We understand what an AM5 is and a NIX, you know. Great size for up to a 14. Refractors, come on. Stop, ask me if I got an observatory for 11 foot long. Yeah, refractor. 1902. I got an F11. It's speed, and you have one.
Oh, jeez.
Get yourself a nice folded something. But that's, of course, another story. But so it's you'll be able to fit a lot of refractors. You know, I like a medium length. I mean, give me a 4 foot long. If you're going to put a 7 foot long pirate scope in there, then, you know, maybe it's, I don't know, it's not for you. But so there's a lot of room. One of the nice things is we've added, of course, taller walls. So now, as you saw on the website, I'm going to go back to it again just for a second. There's an overview on the website. If you scroll down here, what it means is that by adding a taller wall and a new dome, the lineup expands. We now have these separate units that have the same footprint, fit the same dome, fit the same bays. You scroll down here, they are. Here's a bird's eye view of it. Same footprint. And if you scroll down here, it means we now have, as of 2023, we used to have a Mark I, as you can see on the screen. Now you can add the new taller wall to the existing dome, by making it Mark II, or you can add the original wall to the new dome, making it Mark III, and a Mark IV, which is what I'm in right now. That's what I'm sitting inside right now, the new taller wall, Mark IV, with the new Pod S dome. And you can choose now these two, the Mark III and the Mark IV, you can motorize. And when I say motorize, if I were to scroll up, the information here tells us an overview designed from the ground up to be operated manually, as I did, reach up and grab it, or on site via our 24 volt, I'll be all right, motor control system, hand controller or computer. So you don't need internet, you don't need anything else. It could be your 10-year-old laptop, whatever, as long as it's you can plug it in, and you can put an ASCOM program on it, like the SkyX, like Nina, like SG Pro, like whatever. Gee whiz, all kinds of. Then, of course, here's what all the kids want today. Plus, remotely via LAN, internet, PC, Linux, and your favorite ASCOM control. You get what I'm saying. Control software. We can do Indy because people are going to ask about that. You asked about Alpaca. We've made room for them. We've designed for Alpaca. We have a few issues with Alpaca, not with working with it, but we think the software itself needs some things worked out to make it widely acceptable for industry, because we're talking about NASA, and people are going to buy these as well, and other space companies and aerospace companies, and they're going to put them in the middle of nowhere and need remote software and stuff. So Alpaca, for that, you start to think, okay, that comes in pretty handy, but the security things anyway. And when I say greatly superior motor control system, we find the more experience you have with observatories, the more you like us. Because we really think ahead and we build them to last. And for instance, with this one, with Pod, we have a galvanized track. Okay, I'd like to have a stainless track. This one has a stainless steel track, and it's 50% thicker than Pod's track. So why? Because, and these brackets, these dome brackets that you can see in the background on this side here, in Pod they're galvanized. And I said, well, and again, we're trying to balance affordability and longevity and looks, aesthetic. So we can make them out of stainless, and hopefully in 5 or 10 years, they'll still look good. Or we can make them out of stainless and they'll look good for ever or decades. But they're going to cost 3 times as much.
Yeah.
And if there's 6, then it's 6 times 3 and so on. But we're doing that with Pod Max. We're saying this is sort of We're stepping up in size, in height, but we're stepping up in parts somewhat. We say, okay, we're going to give you a choice. You can have pod. Thousands of people love their pods. It's a great observatory. It'll serve you for life. With Pod S, instead of making the brackets from galvanized, maybe we'll make them out of stainless. These are things, by the way, we're costing out right now. This is what we're in the minutia of right now with suppliers, ramping up for production, deciding. And then we have to kind of decide on your behalf, okay, I would like Dan's Pod S brackets to look great in 10, 20 years. So maybe he wouldn't mind paying twice as much for stainless. That's the kind of decision we have to make. We can't let the owner, the consumer, make every decision. But another thing, being imagers and being astronomers, and I'm probably going to lose my voice here because we're taught here at Batcave, it's the team discussing, and what we're really discussing is really scenarios. What if Eric goes out and he's got his Tech 130 on his CQ6? I'm making it up as I go along, and this kind of stuff, and it's -20, and he didn't brush the cover off, and he didn't turn on a heater to melt all the ice off, the Chicago ice and all that stuff. Then what happens? You know, what is our software going to do for a stop? And how do we restart? All that stuff. We spend years working and thinking about this stuff so that, because here's the deal. Instant access, remote or on-site. I don't have time for horsing around. That's why in some cases we'll hardwire stuff. Like our system is hardwired to your computer in your bay or on the wall or wherever it's going to be. We could do it wireless. And in fact, our system talks to itself wirelessly from our top motor to our rotation motor. But we want to be one less thing that you don't lose an imaging session for because you couldn't track down your wireless connectivity from your computer to your dome. So we tell you got to have a computer. It's going to be right there unless we do Alpaca, or unless you do Alpaca and stuff later. Primarily, you got to have a Windows 10 or 11 or whatever computer with ASCOM running, plugged into the dome. We'll give you a hand controller. You can use your plate solve, your go-to, whatever you want to use. It's going to move the dome. Your telescope's going to be connected to the dome via NINA, via SG Pro, whatever else, via ASCOM. The drivers exist, by the way. I can give you the drivers right now. What are you going to do with them? You don't have a Pod S dome. I do. Yeah, I get pretty gleeful because it's amazing. You know, it really is. It really is. Astronomers are just gonna love it, and imagers are gonna love it especially. And with these bays, there's a discussion going on. We always invite people to join our very friendly, very informative pod groups.io discussion group. In fact, you know what? I mean, how ballsy is it for a manufacturer? Let's say. Can I use that word on CBS?
No, you're good.
Okay, then I guess I can use it here.
I got a beep in the background.
We do have a question, but
if Dan contacts me and says, "Hey, Wayne, I'm on Long Island, and I got this, and I got that. I want to do this, I want to do that," I say, "You know what? Join our group. First of all, I'll answer all your questions, but join our discussion group." So if I thought people didn't like our product, if hundreds in our discussion group out of the thousands of owners weren't going to tell you that they love our product and they've loved it for many years and it's changed their life and all these wonderful things, I don't think I'd be telling you to join our group. It's one of the first things I tell people on first contact. I go, here's the assembly video, join the group. Here's how you make a deck. You need a pier. Here's the information on that. What's your mount? Boom, we throw it all at you. We answer tons of questions that you've been wondering about for life, maybe. How do I put a pier in? We'll tell you that. So
Wayne,
do all that,
Wayne,
and then of course,
I gotta cut you off for a second, Wayne. I'm sorry. We do have a couple of questions in the chat. Eric, I know you had one that you're on the list for, so why don't you go for that?
DB wanted to know, will there be, or is it in the planning stages to add a brushed weather strip around the circumference of the dome where it meets the walls to help deal with flying insects making nests?
No. Next question. No. The reason for that is, you know what? You can do that, and we've done that in testing and so on. I mean, this is a structure that's outside. It's a moving structure, so there's gaps. There's going to be gaps. We cover them. We do things, and we have in our instructions what to do if there's a blizzard coming. Stuff a piece of foam in there and stuff. But just like your garden shed, your house, any outdoor structure or building, part of the operation. It's one of the things we talk about in the group. In different areas of the country, people have snakes, lizards, scorpions, bears, cougars, bats, bees, wasps, spiders, ladybugs. So it's how to deal with that. It's keeping Mother Nature at bay. And you do the same things you would do for anything else. But we have to ventilate. We don't want to hermetically seal. We don't want to take your equipment. There's going to be some kind of dampness, whether it's around the periphery or whatever it is. You may heat your equipment, but this is open to the night sky. In some places that are near the bayou, let's say, it's going to be really damp. So what we want is ventilation during the day, drying, constant drying. That means ventilation. We have to build that in. So there's going to be upkeep. We say don't walk away and leave it for the summer. When you come back, leave the shed, leave your outdoor shed for the summer and come back. It's going to be spiders, webs, and everything else. So it's a hobby. It's an on. And if you're going away for 6 months, have your neighbor come over and check it every week. Make sure wasps haven't built a net between. They'll build them. One of the things I check my Pod Max for, which is large and has very large covers, every spring I open it. First, I grease all my wheels up and stuff. I start the motors. I open that big thing up. The first thing I look for those little mud wasp nests. That's what I get, and they build right in between the slot cover and the arch. In other words, it's like applying brakes. And you get up on the ladder and you clean them off. So it's a building like any other. It needs, like your car needs a wash, needs an oil change. We try to make it as low maintenance as possible. We'll soap and water every year. But whether it's, people have, like I said, scorpions, snakes, reptiles, bees, you name it. And it's learning how to, they're not a problem unless you just leave things, just like anything else. Your house is going to get overgrown if you never cut your lawn.
So
but if we install brushes and seals, creates friction and dirt and so on.
You got a couple more questions here. One about retail cost, about the Potash Dome. Have you come out with a price yet, or?
We're getting close. I'm starting to. We've worked out recently. We've created spreadsheets. I want to thank Chris on our team for that because she did a great job of getting down. We really need to get down to the nitty gritty. And we won't truly know. It'll cost us, but we won't truly know the cost until after we've shipped some. I don't mean the product, but the shipping, the logistics and stuff. Because these days, you can't even get quotes for 30 days. So if I'm trying to cost, hey, what's it going to cost to ship a bunch of these in June? 7 days these days. And it's usually going up. So we have to figure, okay, it's going to be higher in 4 months. So total cost. But here's some hints. Here's some tips. The current pod dome, the clamshell dome alone is $24.95.
Okay.
And we don't make you buy the wheels and brackets and stuff. We say,
right,
here's
so
a dome. If you need the brackets and wheels, you can, those are options. So Potash it weighs twice as much, partly because of the stuff that's on it, but it weighs twice as much. Instead of 5 brackets, it has 6. They may be stainless. It's going to have stainless plates, as I mentioned, thicker. Imagine how much stainless steel costs these days. So whereas pod, the dome, is, let's say 25, and you can't hold me to this. This is a guesstimation, but I'm trying to get it somewhere between 3 and 4. When we add, there's another $1,000 worth of stuff going on there, and plus shipping, and it's going to cost a little more to ship because it weighs more. So it's not a paper disposable dome. This is a dome that will basically last you for life, and it's built to do away, but it's going to cost. It's going to be an investment. And it's like when people ask me, let's say I've got a pod and I want to put a dome and a motor on it. And I said that scenario to someone who has just that, was asking me recently. And I said to them, well, you know how much just a dome costs? So if this dome costs, let's say another $1,000, and it could be a little more than that. Then a motor system. Now look at any motor system for any observatory on the planet. The cheapest they're going to run you for a full motor system is open and close rotation and stuff. It's usually in the certainly $2,000 plus, up to $5,000 or even $10,000 if you're going up to the high end stuff. And I don't mean the professional university domes and stuff. I mean just stuff people put in their backyard. You can spend a lot of money on that. So if we come up with something that's hands down 10 times as good as anything else, that's industrial, that's user operable. I mean, you can dig in there and it'll grow with you and all kind. You can grow with it and adds a sky alert weather and closes when it gets cloudy and opens again because what have you've programmed an ST Pro or Nina or whatever. Certainly, that's going to be what $3,000 to $4,000. So you're looking at an investment of. Again, it's so hard for me to say until I really get all the numbers in. But
again, we're not holding you to a
yeah, we're gonna hold you to it.
I do like to give people, when we're saying, hey, when we're taking money for deposits and stuff, I like to tell people that this is a range, so between 5 and 10, which
depending on how many perks you
know
want.
what? By the way, like the people I work with on my team, my suppliers stuff, they all think I'm nuts. They go like 15, 20 grand easy. This thing is worth it. And I say, no, you don't understand. We're hobbyists. It's astronomers. I'd rather make less, make more, because we're supporting astronomy. We're supporting imaging. We're supporting a lot of things by giving people a platform. And remember, a lot of these will go to schools, go to colleges, we'll go to outreach, get to camps and stuff. So hundreds of thousands of people could be involved in these over the life of them. And those new people that they get excited about their first visit to one of these at Astro Camp or whatever else, and they become and it's part of their story that maybe that leads them to a life in science. It's one of the small steps that does. I used to say 10 years ago, somebody said, what would make you the happiest? I said, I'm like the old guy at the old folks, the old actors' home, the old musicians' home, and I'm watching whatever the 24-hour streaming news is, and the first woman commander is reporting from Mars, and they say to her, what set you on this path? She said, when I was a kid, my father had this observatory called a potass in the backyard, you see, and they'd find me. This is the future. This is 2042, and they'd find me, be like, and smile on my face, saying, "We did it." The commander of the Mars mission was turned on to, just the way we were turned on to it by Star Trek in 2000, and whatever else. We got to be a link like you guys. We are all, the four of us gathered here, are a link in a chain that must go on. If I can get a little philosophical, if you believe the math and you believe the science, we're going to run out of resources. We're venturing out. Those of us who are imaging the out and bringing it to those who are not, I don't have that window view. We're encouraging them and encouraging young people, encouraging people of all walks of life to get involved, because we have to reach outward. First, we have to, hopefully, it'd be nice if we could settle our problems here and then reach outward. But if we got to do both at the same time, we still got to reach outward. And for resources, I mean, what were they saying about? There's one asteroid out there, just one in particular, that if they were to haul it back here, that every stock exchange on Earth would crash, because they're all based on like minerals and resources,
minerals and everything,
for 100 years, So we know that resources are finite. We know we've done supposedly a poor job of shepherding that, and so we need to reach out. So all of us are a chain, and you've heard me say it. This is a golden age. What Sean's showing us to do with PixInsight. The tools we have, the cameras, the mounts, the scopes, the lenses, the filters, the software, things we have. Look at the stuff from universities from 10, 15 years ago and stuff, even CCD stuff, killer stuff on Wikipedia from 2017. And now you can go out to your backyard and get a finer shot as far as details and colors and stuff. So we're a link in the ongoing chain that has to in science and growth and stuff, and fun and adventure, of course.
So AZ4 Runner was actually asking. He has an XL5 already.
Cool.
So he was wondering, what if you? Yeah, no, he said he's had it since 2016, and
cool.
He was just asking about the Pod S dome top to fit the XL5.
Yes. So yes, you can exchange it. Not with us, with each other.
Wait, what?
That's what his question, right? Will it work with his wall?
Yes, that's what he's asking.
Yeah. That's what I meant when I was showing you the footprints. They're interchangeable.
Gotcha.
So you can, and if you want to budgetarily do it in stages, we've got an upgrade path. Even though you don't, we hate to say upgrade because there's nothing wrong with your pod. If you want a different path, you can take your dome, I suppose, AstroMart, Astro Buy and Sell, depending where you are. It's totally recyclable. If it served you well and you feel you've got your money's worth, take it to the local recycling depot. They will take it for usually nothing. And recyclable, recycle it, it'll become a plant holder or something else, an urn. And then you put the new one on. And then you use it in manual motion. Hey, if you're going to be in it, open it up and move the thing. Move it every 7 minutes. You set your Apple Watch to say move it. I do it sometimes just for testing and stuff. You just move it and image all night. And of course, image past zenith, rotated image, from direct from east to west, the entire sky. And then next year, as budget allows, invest in the motor system. Add the motor system. And we've done it on purpose. We're not forcing you to take the dome and motor, nor do you have to buy them at the same time. It's a totally functional, super easy to use. It's as easy to use as your pod. Open it up and use it. That's it. And lock it and unlock it. And I was getting to that, I was saying that earlier. I just want to mention about, for those of you who don't own an observatory, of course, the beautiful thing is,
we all have peers sitting outside, with 360 covers on it.
Just waiting. They're waiting for something to say. Cover me. Enclose me.
We're waiting for the sky and the clouds to part and the Red Sea gets.
I'm doing this.
If my peer could talk and it could see that pod coming down upon on high, I think it would cry.
And I come down with the 10 commandments.
Yeah. Well, and I got to tell you, I must admit, I am living the dream. I mean, I've got a SkyShed roll off, a SkyShed pod, a SkyShed pod max, and now a SkyShed pod S. And I'm already thinking I can't run more than 2 at once. So the idea is open up the big one, pod max, for the night, set target, move to pod S, set target, may as well run them both, because once you're imaging, once it's set, and you see what it's all about for us is instant access. Not only does the building give you a place to keep your stuff that isn't in the house, it's ready to go. It's polar aligned, it's balanced, it's ready to go. You start up your computer, you check atmospherics, whatever you want to do. Maybe you got your secrets ready to go, and you can do it remotely from in the house if you like, or you can sit. See, I like to get out. I'm in my office a lot. Look at Sean; he's in his office. You might say, you know what? I'd like to get out of my office and go. And I got the tunes going. It's my tunes. It's not maybe what somebody else would like to listen to. And maybe I got Netflix going over there because it's a bit cloudy out, and I'm doing some image processing. So it's a destination. It's a place to go. It's not just your rig is working. It's somewhere to go, get involved with astronomy, have a couple of friends in. As you can see, there's room here. You can have 2 or 3 people in pretty easily. So it's a destination. You got your tunes going. People will say a man cave or a she shed, or I don't know, all these other words. We call it a starship. Where would you like to explore? And as you can see, we kind of dress them up. We kind of dress them up a little bit to have that kind of look for fun with the row of displays and things. But for anybody who's got one, they can migrate to the new dome, and then if money allows. And here's the thing, when I was talking about prices earlier. Will you tell me what are mounts costing these days? How much is that Nix mount?
$29.60.
How much?
About $3,000.
That's US.
Yeah, $3,000
So about
US.
the same as a dome. So it buys your pod S dome, right? But here's the question: shouldn't the structure that your mount is in cost at least the same as the mount? It's a little piece of machinery and stuff. You got an entire structure here with doors and levers and things and stuff. Yeah. And I mean, theoretically, you would think the building costs as much as the stuff in it. Now we want to make it affordable for you, and so we say buy the dome, add it to your existing pod, and then next year come and see us for the motor system. It'll take you a day. I haven't talked too much about the motor system. I want to give Sean some time as well, but you know me.
This is all about you, buddy, not me. I'm just here to provide the good looks.
You're looking good, man.
Thank God someone's here to do that, because we know it's not.
Yeah, really.
You know.
Yeah, you can see us. And look at me. I got the. It's what is it out there? Both of us are in the same area, Sean and I. So what is it? Minus what out there? Feels like minus 20 or something right now.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like minus 10, but it feels like minus 20 or something like that.
Cave tonight is the back cave. Heat's off. The guys just finished. They're shutting down. They're all in the office living room area. So out here it's probably in the 50s. So yeah,
I love the fact that you called it the back cave. I really do.
I had to, man. I had to. It's dark. It's long, and stuff. Really cool stuff comes out of there.
You know, I'm just imagining Burt Ward and Adam West coming out of the background.
Well, you know, somebody asked me in the pod group today, "Hey Wayne, you haven't shown us a picture of the Batcave," and it's usually because there's so many projects going on. Somebody's in the middle of sweeping up and stuff. You can't catch the vibe of the place. So the funny thing was, I actually Googled Batcave, and I was gonna say like the actual Batcave. Say it looks here's a picture of the Batcave, and so when he opened it up.
Nice.
Not the action, but I am going to take one when I get the lighting right and stuff. It's pretty impressive. Sean's been here. It's impressive. Like if somebody says come visit my shop, and it's a 100-year-old barn that's turned into a welding shop, I'm in love. And half museum, half because what it tells me is a lot of really cool stuff has come out of this. This has a life of making stuff. And as here, these guys right next door, I mean, literally 10 feet from me here in the shop, making gigantic lifts and everything's motor control stuff, same stuff we're doing. This is like a no-brainer to them. So when you go to install that new motor system, we figure it'll take you a day. It's minimum, it's just like your pod, minimum nuts and bolts. And like I said earlier, the more observatories and stuff people have owned, the more they love their sky sheds, because we make them right. Then we educate you, we support you, and what we want is 100% uptime. That's what we want you to have. We want you to go out there and turn that key or push that button or do whatever else. And our product, our piece of the puzzle, works for you. Your guide cam might stop guiding. Your mount might do something weird. Your connection to the internet might be lost, but
not the mount.
Don't do anything weird. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we want to be the no-brainer. You know, the no-brainer. Right. It just works, and that's why we keep it simple. And even, I mean, as time very, very shortly, when we get to our final production, we have to clad our control system. It's actually going to be stainless, and this is one of the things we talk about. Should we make it? Is it going to be too reflective and stuff? It looks like basically. I hate to say it. It looks like a bit like, I think it reminds me of a Cylon. It's chrome.
At your command.
And I'm thinking, people are going to understand. They're going to start calling the Cylon control system. But it's stainless, and it's bolts on the wall. Yeah, and we love, you know, any sci-fi homage we could pay to anything. I mean, look, Pod. 2001: A Space Odyssey. Open the pod bay door. That's a pod. I'm talking to you. You're in a pod bay. This is in a pod bay. As we've talked about before, everything's an homage to us. So if we can make our control system look reminiscent of a Cylon warrior, that's what we're doing. So we do geek. Yeah.
We do geek. So say we all.
So say we all.
Reaching the corner.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Wait, let me ask you something real quick.
Yeah.
When it comes to the pod S's, and you got the domes here, you know, you got the new domes and these taller walls.
Base.
How thick?
Yeah.
How thick? You know, me being in Chicago and being here in Illinois in the Midwest, how thick are they? How insulated are they?
Those double walls, like the top of our wall and the bottom. Think of it like an I-beam structure. The top of our wall and the bottom of it are 4 inches thick in actual size. Wow. The material itself, and because we use rotomolding to make it, so imagine like I said, a waffle maker that's rotating. more material tends to gather in the edges, so that sometimes you'd be drilling through like a corner and it's solid. Now, generally, it's over a 1/4 inch. Now, remember, it's a double wall, and by forming all these ribs and arches and things and stuff, that's why the circles are up there. They add a whole pile of. I mean, I'm in this now. Look at this. I mean, I'm pulling on this. You guys are in a bay, and I'm pulling on the frame of 2 bays. I don't know if you're moving. I'm moving, but I don't see too much movement in my camera. So yeah, we build them for tornadoes. We build them. We know they're going to get hit by. If you get an EF2, 3, 4, all bets are off. As I've said in the past.
Yeah.
If your weather's bad enough, you're worried about your Pod S or your Pod Max. Forget about it. Worry about your family.
I'm worried about it. Can I hang out in the winter? You know, can I hang out in my pod? You know, in the winter, because at minus 10 wind chill, and stuff like that. It's insulated well enough that we can hang out.
Yeah, the shelter you're going to get from it is really something. When we were building the first pod prototype, not even prototype, pre-production, because prototype is something you bang up. We make the molds. We start to make pieces from them, and we refine them. So those are our development, which is what I'm in now, a development unit, a pre-production unit. And the very first one, it was a February day. My wife was standing 2 feet, less than that, 18 inches away from the wall. I was in the pod, and her hair, because she's a woman, she has long hair, was blowing sideways. I was like, it's like maybe 1 mile an hour wind, half a mile an hour wind on my scope and me inside, even though it's only a half dome. It has this effect of it balloons around it, you might say. The air goes around, it doesn't scoop around and come in. So they're fantastic for, and so when you take the wind factor out of that, if you're out here minus 10 and you're warmly dressed. Now remember, we say heat the astronomer, not the observatory. As you know, you can't heat the observatory while you're in it, because you have to equalize your mirrors and everything else to the ambient temperature. But, and that's, I'm glad you raised that. I'm just going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here, if I may. In places like Arizona, California, Florida, New Mexico, and other places in the world, people will add air ACs or dehumidifiers. But let's talk about ACs for a second. Gets up to 120 degrees, 140 degrees in the desert. You got your computer in there. You got your scope in there. You got an AC. You cut a hole in a bay. You stick an AC, a tower in, and you keep it at 80. Now, that mindset, for some reason, doesn't really transfer, and it should, to people in northern latitudes. That if I'm getting 10 inches of snow tonight, and it's going to be clear tomorrow night, then maybe I should have one of those foot by foot infrared cube heaters with a thermostat or a POE or something else, set it to come on every day at 12 all winter for 2 hours, blow that heat. Everything's going to disappear off the dome. It takes very little. Even after huge snowstorms, I'll look out the domes, and maybe the first day or the first few hours in the morning, there'll be a little bit of snow. And miraculously, by midday or the slightest temperatures near zero or freezing point or sun, it just disappears. Now, if you want to make it totally free of that, you run the heater for a couple of hours in the afternoon, have it turn off so it equalizes again. Yep. And then when you go to use it, it's completely snow and ice-free and all that kind of stuff, just the way people in the desert do. So climate control, it's worth it. But you got to turn it off before you use it so that your mirror and other optics equalize.
Everything can get back to that ambient temperature equalize. Yeah. It's a huge especially from the wind. Someone was asking about spray foam. Can you inject, or is that an option? Have you ever heard of anybody injecting spray foam into those cavities of the wall to help fill it in and insulate it or do anything like that? Is it even, because you say this is almost a waffle deal.
We did that. We did that up until about 1.5 years ago. We did that for 10 years. We called it the insulation option. Over 10 years ago, we insulated the dome. We tried that for a couple of years. It added weight and other things. It was difficult to do because it wasn't designed to be foamed. Then we started foaming the walls. So we would foam the frame of the door. The door panel itself was only 1.5 inches thick. So it was, it's solid enough that you're not going to get anything in there. We would do the wall panels, and then to sort of match that, we would double the weight of the bays almost to make them much thicker. The problem is, it didn't really make much of it. It makes it, well, a couple of things. It made the panels super stiff, and that made them kind of harder to assemble, because now it was like lightweight concrete instead of, you didn't have that flexibility that we had without the foam. And because we didn't do it on the dome after a while, and even if you add the dome cover, which is an option, you can add a cover to cover it. You add that. It was a handful of degrees. It was 3 degrees. It was 5 degrees. The whole thing's outside. It's passive.
Yeah.
It's, putting foam in the things, unless you're using that to help cool it down. So, but what I did was, what happened during the pandemic, the foam became 2, 3, 4, 5 times the price per cubic foot. It was ridiculous. If we could get it, because it's earth friendly and all this stuff, so it's a really harder one to get and more expensive. And so I decided that what we're going to do is we're going to continue to make, because when we did foam them, as we called it, it's hardened foam insulation. When we did do that, we would make the panels thicker to begin with, so that they wouldn't balloon as easy. We actually had sort of coffin-shaped structures that a panel would go in to retain its shape while we injected the foam. Then we take it out and cool it. And we decided, let's keep the heavy option. So you have an option. I'm glad you asked, actually, because an option with a pod is a standard bay. So a standard bay will last you for life. You don't need anything else. It's one melded piece. And by the way, as we talked about before, we originated the pod bay. It's been copied by basically everybody else very badly around the world, because what really sets ours apart is not only design that it nests into each other, but it's one melded piece. It's not slapped up pieces of things that can leak and bolts and cracks and stuff. It's one melded piece. So what we're doing is doubling that, almost doubling that. We go from 35 pounds on a standard bay to 55 pounds on what we call the heavy bay. Now, these taller bays, it won't be an option. They just heavy. So they're 110 pounds each. We're not making it an option. It's like, let's just keep it simple. They're 110 pounds. So you can't even, I mean, a lot of people can lift it, but it's very big. So we're talking 2 people. This is a substantial building. When you've got the 5 bays around me like I have now, that's just under 12 feet around me with the 8-foot dome. And like we talked about earlier, with the wall being taller, as opposed to a pod where the wall's going to be down here, the dome's going to be down here. Now it's up here, so it's above you, creating all this space. I mean, Sean, Ron Breacher, and I stood in here for, I don't know, half an hour not too long ago having a chat. Nobody felt cramped in. Did we, Sean?
Well, I was a little uncomfortable, Sometimes you were a little close. But,
you just got to give people some space. You got the personal circle,
Well, that's the thing. You gotta have context. If it was his first time ever in one, he'd go, "Hey, it's not a palace," but it's bigger than the dock. So having some context as well. But those are the things and all those things. So basics. So I don't bore you with this stuff all night. But if you've got other questions, I'm happy to. But I hope that gives you some sort of and talking about rolling them out. So now we're of course we can't make 100 day one. So we're probably in a couple of months we'll make 5 or 10 sort of locally. Think of it as like ripples in a pond. We'll make them. We got buddies. We got Steve Malia. We got Gary on our team. We got other pod owners and other people who want them. Trevor, for instance, here. I haven't talked to Trevor lately, but I'm assuming he's going to want one. And we'll put them in and see these guys. I wish Sean could. Sean just doesn't have the space. He just absolutely like I
do have space at the cottage.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that. And the cottage is 10 minutes from our factory. Come on.
It is.
Free shipping. Free shipping.
Family and friends price. You know what I'm saying?
And don't worry, if I decide to pull the trigger on either the the SkyPod Shed or the Pod S or the roll off.
Yes.
I'll be driving up there in August. So
yeah. Hey,
you know
what? For
I'll get a
Pod S,
U-Haul.
we got people coming from Ontario, of course, Quebec, but also Ohio, Pennsylvania, Indiana, New York. I mean, Tim Conley. I'm already looking forward to you guys know Tim Conley. ASI,
I know Tim was actually Tim Conley was actually the second guest.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that one.
And it was before AstroWorld. It was Cosmic Charlie's show. Cosmic Charlie and Declination Dan. And he was the second. The first one that we ever had was Doug Struble.
Great.
And followed by Tim Conley, followed by Chuck Ayub.
Wow.
Chuck was funny. He wouldn't get on video at the time. Before he was doing video shots. He was only doing phone, so we had the phone like kind of here on speaker like this.
Wow. Yeah, those are great imagers. Those are great imagers to be. Yeah, they are. I mean, on a regular basis, Doug Struble, you APOD. Oh, there's Doug again. And he's just he's Mr. Data Collector, man. Like he'll post on. I'm on Facebook more than I am on Instagram or Twitter or anything else, and he'll say like he's got 3 scopes going at once.
Dude, he's out of control.
He's out of control.
I love the guy. He's great. We go back 5 years, and he is just nuts. This guy just is a workhorse. He just like
must be nice, eh? That's what see. We have a lot of. Well, when I say that, what I mean is we have a lot of owners. See, I like to call them owners, not customers. Customers sound like I own a grocery store in their bag and buying a head of lettuce.
Paper or plastic.
We're talking a relationship here. If I can get sort of Long Islandy, I wish I talked to you before about the fact that I slip into if I got friends in New York or Philly and stuff, I slip into their accent in 2 seconds because I've watched every gangster show or movie that's ever been made, and I just wait for the minute that I can speak with a little bit of a New York accent, just a little bit, because it's such fun. But with those particular guys you were talking about, like Douglas and Chuck, and that's some good stuff, man. But a lot of our customers, they're retired or they're semi-retired.
Yeah, you were saying that a lot of the main crop of your customers is really 45 plus in years of age. You know, 50 to 60 is about average. And I think it's funny because Wayne, one of the things that you said to me offline, and it's not bad, so I'll just throw it out there.
Yeah.
But you pride your company, and I know you touched on it a little bit before. You pride on your company where you don't want to be the thing in your rig that craps out. And
that's right.
You put a lot of pride into that and how your system works with different rigs. And you do a lot of rigorous testing on all of your pods to make sure that they don't, honestly, that they don't crap out. And I thought that was great to kind of hear.
Yeah, thank you. And the neat thing is because we are astronomers, and because by me talking and dealing with astronomers every day, I hear their desires, I hear their needs, I hear what they want, what they need, and so I'm able to take that. And when we're designing and when we're developing and stuff, if I'm working with non-astronomers, be it engineers, mold makers, suppliers, and they'll say, "Why don't you do this?" And I'll say, "No, that won't work." They don't know. You see, because we're imagers, we know that this won't work or that won't work or all these other things that we want it to be the best experience it can be for the astronomer, and especially with Pod S for the imager. That, exactly like you said, that our gear is the gear you can count on. In this case, it happens to be the building. But we want the building. And for those of you who don't own one, the greatest pleasure in the world, you can imagine if those who have dreamed of one, and I'm not talking about if you use it remotely, not even if you use it remotely, but there's nothing like that feeling of never having to set your gear up, never having to tear down, unless you want to. There's guys who switch back and forth like TJ or Tim Conley. He'll say, "Oh, I'm taking my Hyperstar off and I'm going planetary at F11." Okay. But I basically set mine up for the season. I say, this season I'm doing DSOs because, and then every time I walk in there, as fast as my computer can boot up, my dome's open, it's rotated, it's going to, and that's partly because I want to cool down the whole place So it's 45 minutes before I start imaging. I might leave the door open if it's in the summer, and just really ambient it really quick. But it's that instant access. Everything works. Bing, bing, bing. It's whether it's remote or PoE or whatever else, wireless. And then, but the greatest pleasure is at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, when you've had a great night. Maybe you're EAing and you're collecting the subs. I tend to do that a lot with Sharp Cap running. Now you can have it running in Nina or whatever else, as you know. But I'll be doing, or even using PixInsight for real time, and playing with the playing with the stuff and stretching out and doing things, and then saving the subs. And I'll say, well, let's see, I got 2 hours on M31 tonight, and I've been texting Sean. Sean and I are texting each other. Hey, what are you getting? What are you doing? And then I go time to pack up, and I'm in the house in 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Door locked, dome closed, computer off, ready to go for the next time. And that's the greatest pleasure of it as an astronomer, is that instant access. And I know you guys have got scopes, wrapped on piers and stuff, which, it works, but long term, you want to pick your valuable investment. You want to stick it in somewhere you can lock, and you can, and again, a destination. Get your other stuff out of the house or out of the garage or out of the whatever. Get your astronomy stuff into your observatory, stored away, your tools, your things. I tend to, if I'm not using a camera, I can bring the camera in the house, because it's a more stable environment. And I will mention too, and this is just a tip off the top that when we were talking about winter. Now in my observatories, you'll see right now I've got a Mylar, just light Mylar emergency blanket, basically a $3 dollar store emergency blanket thrown over my CGXL. And I've actually got a plastic bag underneath. And I mentioned earlier, it's because it's very dusty here. There's all kinds of machinery and machining and sanding and paint spraying and stuff going on around me. So I want to keep the gear in between sessions, in between the time we're working with it. I want to keep it covered. But we do the same thing in our observatory. So when people talk about using a remote, yeah, you can use a remote, but we differentiate. We've talked about this before, between unattended or isolated remote and remote in my backyard. Two completely, very different things. It's in your backyard. You say, I'm going to go in the observatory tonight. You walk out, you open it up, you check things. You check your cables. You might even move your mount back and forth using your computer or using your hand control. Make sure everything's moving right. It sounds right. Everything's good. Then you leave, go back in the house, use any desk or remote, whatever you want to use, to now control the observatory, fully control your focuser. You're, using ASCOM. The dome is moving with the scope, it's tied to the scope. And then when you're done, you close up. You can do that remotely. If you've locked the door when you left, now you're locking the dome electronically or remotely. But the next day, you go out and you say, okay, did I snag any cables? Is everything still plugged in? In fact, one of the things I've done after using my stuff year after year, just so I know that my guide cam is going to connect, because it has a ghost in the machine connection. If I just started, it may or may not. I've got a Kendrick power control box with 8 USBs. They're not all used. I'll go around my rig and unplug and plug in every USB on there before I do an imaging session. Unplug it, plug it back in, unplug it, look at it, plug it back in, plug it back in. Fresh plugins, because USB connections are probably the worst thing ever for astronomy. For semi-outside, you guys must see it on your scopes or your mounts on piers. Dew, condensation, dust, whatever, expansion, contraction, they'll fail on the connection will fail, maybe not the plug, but the connection. So, I take 30 seconds. That's just years of doing it. Going, hey, I'm talking to my buddy, I'm plug it all back in. So if I was doing it remotely, I would still go out to do that. I'd say, okay, I'm going in the house, I'm putting it on the 73-inch screen or whatever you want to do. So it's, not to, again, to crush dreams, but everybody has that dream of the observatory on the hill, and it's 5 hours from my house, and I control it. Well, I hope you have a buddy who lives at the bottom of the hill who will drive up the hill to, reboot your computer or do whatever, because, that's reality. When NASA has a remote site, they helicopter a guy out there to go figure out why the power's not working. So that backyard remote versus isolated, unattended remote. And, you know, people call me and they say, well, I have a condo. Can I put it up at my cottage and use it? Like Sean could say, I can't put it here in Guelph, but I can put it up at my cottage. And I can say, yeah, but get friendly with one of your neighbors or your local handyman or somebody and just tell them, listen, there could be a night at midnight when I call you and ask you to come check something. And, or whatever else. Could be power, could be why is it blowing fuses? Why is the breaker going? Who knows? So we don't want to be the thing that fails you. And we've designed these because a lot of people now want to sit in their homes, in their offices, and use them remotely. They want to go to bed. They want to set a sequence and do it. That's what this is for. But it doesn't mean you don't drive your car with a remote. You're in your car driving it now. That's not a good analogy. Wait a minute. But, and well, not to digress too much, but here's another thing we find with first-time observatory owners. All of us know what it takes to upkeep a car. You got your oil changes. You check your air and your tires. You should. All those things, the filters that have to be changed, all those things. For some reason, people buy an observatory and they think, I don't have to ever do anything. No, you got to go out and take a look and make sure your cables aren't snagged. There's things to do. It's now part of your astronomy life. And as long as you do those things, we want to make it so really minimal amount of care for our stuff. But you got to keep your eye on things. And if you do that, go out in the afternoon or go out before you're going to do it, make sure everything's cool, and go back in the house and image, have it shut down, and do that each time. But don't just say, hey, Alexa, open the dome every single time and wonder why it's not slewing to where your scope is, because it takes some hands-on. We can't make it completely hands-off.
Right. you haven't gotten like getting close to like Russell, you know, with Blur Exterminator, you know, and making like deconvolution as almost like a thing of the past. Yeah. So easy.
How about that? Can I come back and we can just, like I said, next time I come back, you can just say, we'll just do 1 minute on SkyShed and then we can just talk about imaging.
There you go. Hey, we're good with that.
Thanks for calling, but I want to get back to Sean for a minute because, his latest videos. Hey, here's one. This is what I was talking to Dan about earlier. Can I digress into imaging land for a minute?
Absolutely.
Cool. Here's one for Bill Blanchard. Sean, you know the way Bill's got those great, which you've got videos on, or taught us how to use the color scripts, of course, the image, the star reduction, and the SOO and stuff, and the SHO and stuff. Mm-hmm. Great stuff. Yeah. Well, I got another one from him. There's something that irks me about CMOS cameras. Now, maybe it's just my CMOS cameras or my setup or my filters. Yeah, here I go. CCD versus film versus CMOS thing.
Don't even start.
Sort of, mostly. But there's something I miss from CCD and film, for that point, but especially CCDs with the CMOS cameras. They're incredible. I love it. I love them. I love the speed. I love the noise, or less noise, or whatever you want to call it, noise-free, or less noise, but I miss, I found the CCDs had this ruby red and sapphire blue
we were talking about
tones that when I first learned PixInsight off you, Sean, I was amazed that it was like RGB. And you had to use curves to come up with, make it more purple, make it more green, make it more wherever. And what I'll do is I'll open up one of your shots, or even better, I'll open up one of Ron's 2014, 2015 CCD shots of hydrogen. And it's that rich red, ruby red that I just find with CMOS is harder to get. And I'll introduce, maybe use a color mask and introduce maybe a little bit of blue, maybe pull out a little bit of green, which I mentioned to Dan earlier. You got to be careful. You're going to lose some of your detail and stuff. And I can get close. I can go, ooh, I'll publish it and stuff. And people say, it's nice colors. And I know what they mean. They mean that's a really rich red and that's a really rich blue. And maybe my golds are rich. And I thought, okay, perfect next job. I want to get the message through to Bill Blanchard for me, please, Sean. And tell him his next script's got to be, give me one button, make it like CCD colors. give me that ruby red. Give me that sapphire blue, so I don't have to play with curves to say, I want to pull a little bit of the green out of the red. And I just find, I don't know, maybe it's just my rig, my imaging, my filters. But I just find with CMOS, I find the reds to be a little more orangey reds, even though it's supposed to be RGB, true color stuff. And I find the blue more to be again, less sapphire blue, more, isn't it that rich? They're kind of, I don't want to say cardboardy kind of colors, but
if you're using the dual band filters though, or tri-band filters, that can cause that orangey red sort of appearance.
True. That's true. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, because all of them that I've tested, they all have that same sort of. You can tell that they were taken with one of those filters. They just have that look to them.
So maybe that's part of it. But I still see it overall, though. I'm seeing as we move to CMOS en masse, I'm seeing less of those gorgeous, those deep reds and blues that people seem to achieve. Maybe it was, just the process, just this completely different chip, and maybe it's just something that is. It's like right now we've all got LEDs going in the background, and yet all of them look richer in person than they do on camera. Our CCD cameras or whatever pixels in our cameras are not picking up all these. I don't know what they are, CMOS cameras, whatever, are not picking up the actual richness of those that seemed to me that the CCDs did. And I thought, you could probably script this. You could have a couple of scripts that just tweak your colors, that are adjustable scripts, that just to take that little bit of guessing and stuff out of it and playing around as a totally lazy processor.
Oh yeah, that's definitely yeah, but I kind of find it, and Sean makes fun of me all the time, and all the rest of the people in the peanut gallery, mess with me all the time about the addition of the green to my nebulas, and I think that it's not easy being green. But, but the whole thing is like, and we talk about this on the show a lot, and artistry is in the eye of the beholder, and and that's what it is. And it doesn't matter what anybody says on the show. It doesn't matter what guests we have that say you should do this, do that, do the other thing, whatever. It's about you taking what is taught to you and put it in a way that's pleasing to you.
Yes.
And
that's the beauty of it, really.
You got to make it your own. You got to make it your own and what it is. And if you're in, some people are into it for, being totally accurate of what you would see, or what is totally accurate as far as chemical compositions of the clouds, or the scientific aspect of the image. And it depends on what you're going for. And if you're going for a certain point, then make sure that's pleasing to you and what you want, not what everybody else is putting up. Whatever.
And it's funny because we've had this discussion. Sean and I've had this discussion. I know Trevor Jones and I've had this discussion over the years, and we'll say very often you almost end up with two. You may end up with two versions of something, sort of your version and then the public version. And you tend to. I mean, and NASA, for instance, is the worst or the best at this. Is hey, give me some day glow colors. They produce some stuff. They show you some stuff where it's off the chart cartoon colors. I used to call it the NASA cartoon palette. That's what I was using. If I go extreme, I'll say I call it my NASA cartoon. They want to blow your socks off, and everything's like almost posterized. It's so bright red and bright yellow and bright blue and bright green and super. But guess what? Everybody eats it up. They love it. And then some of my favorite guys do supernatural stuff that the average looker or viewer might look at it and go, that's kind of boring, because they're kind of dull and but they're true. They're true to life, let's say. They haven't been, super saturated and super brightened and super everything else. They have earthy colors and stuff. So and that's another thing that's great about, of course, we all say all the time about astrophotography, is that no two are alike. And when I'm on Facebook and our owners are posting all the time, I just give them a love on everyone. If they're newbies just getting started, because every astro photo, as far as I'm concerned, is great. And it's just a question of working your way up, if you want to developing it. And for instance, I try and imagine, stupid because it's not true, like if you were approaching it in a spaceship, what would it look like? I try to go for real realism, what I think will be, but but you tend to go brighter than you're going to and more colorful than you're going to because you've truly showed it what you think it might look like. But I kind of use that as a basis where I try to go for realism and then pump it up a bit. And as you know, with saturation, you know, you can lose a lot of detail by making it so colorful and stuff and losing a lot of that context and nuance. One of my favorite shots that I put out last year that I published just online was Lion Nebula. What do you call it? SH 232?
132?
132.
Yeah, or the tiger. It's the lion. It should be a tiger, I guess. I don't know.
Lion.
But I know it's and then Sean, and Sean's got some nice ones over the years. As you know, it's very obscured by stars. There's 16,000 stars in your field of view or whatever. And I didn't even get a lot of good subs of it. There was a moon up. It was quarter moon anyway. And I thought, I don't even know what it's worth. And I probably got like 40 subs out of it. 2-minute subs at low gain with the 14-inch and Hyperstar. And it was before Bill Blanchard had his SOO stuff. So I was doing the old techniques, the old that Sean had worked on. Luca Manico is another guy who used the same, separating the channels and fun, but less correct, less flat, let's say, and dynamic as using Bill's actually, which I'm thinking gives you more of a flat, mathematically correct than visually correct version of it. And so I did that and used Bill's color masks to bring out some of that blue in the background. And before, of course, Blur Exterminator. But my point is, I ended up with something that was only maybe an hour long. Now, of course, Hyperstar 14-inch, and not a lot of subs. But just with the latest stuff we've got, using the latest techniques and stuff to do it in an SOO type palette. And I stuck to, and as you know, sometimes as soon as you do it, you look at it and you go, oh man, this doesn't need anything. I just stretched it. It's like perfect. It's great. The depth is there. You notice the more you process, the flatter it starts getting. You start compressing it all. Instead of that stretched out look, when you first see it, you first see your M31 and it's kind of green and black and stuff, and you go, oh man, that is amazing. But you're never going to show it to anybody because they're going to go, yeah, it's okay. Now you're going to dress it up and stretch it and things and do things and so on. But you don't forget that depth. Well, with that Lion, that 132, I think, I was so loath. There was so much depth. I had never seen so much depth in an image I'd taken like that, where I was like, I'm going to publish this, like barely stretched. I had a little touch of a curve and a touch of a brightness stuff. And I said, now I did use a little color masking to enrich the colors a little bit, but I just published it starless even because it was beautiful without a lot of processing. Very often you stretch it and you go, you know what, if your color's good and stuff, hey, there's a lot of good stuff there. But when I published it, few people even recognized it or saw it or liked it or anything else. If I would have made it day glow colors, everybody's freaking out. Oh my God, it's amazing. Oh my God, I can't believe it changed my life. Same picture, but I blew out all the, I saturated till I was using the NASA cartoon palette. There's Republics and there's something in between, Yep. On the wall.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
I know someone. I thought I saw some more questions here. No, I saw some comments here. Someone, a view far away. Wayne, I put Alexa control LED strips in 3/4 plex pipe below the dome all the way around. Now I can select whatever color I want. It's not ultra bright exposed LEDs. It's not pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Love that.
It's pretty cool.
Love that. Yeah, dress it up.
Yeah, little dressing up, little customizing.
Yeah. And that's another thing too. We present it as a platform, you might say. Like we don't expect to. It's like when you buy your car and you decide to put that visor on it or do that thing or whatever. We don't say it's done. It can be done. Do nothing. It's done. Or get fancy, put your logo on the door, do or whatever. Lighting, especially lighting, electronics and stuff. Because we're not in the business of selling. We're not Wayfair or Amazon. We're not going to sell you strip of lights. Go to them, put a strip of lights in. But yeah,
Yeah, because basically, you know, the bottom is open, so you can run on any electrical and everything you need, you know, right there, and you're good to go.
Yeah, that's on purpose. We purposely left the floor out. There's a floor in the base, but we left the floor out because we said, well, whatever you put it on, it's the floor. It's a deck. It's a concrete pad. It's hopefully not gravel, but it allows you to do things. And when people talk about decks and they'll say, well, I don't want bugs to get up, you put window screening down before you put the deck boards on top. Then you double space a few of your deck boards when you know where you're going to run your wiring. When you're wiring right down between the deck boards, put a mat on top. If you need to switch them again, about that fast ability to, some reason the USB 3 cable going from my mount directly to my computer with a whole bunch of stuff in it isn't working. Pull out the drawer, open up an extra, flip up the mat, run it. You're back in action in 5 minutes. So that's a nice thing about a deck. I like decks. Rather than, and people ask us if you're going to pour concrete, do it if you want. I like decks or risers better for ventilation and running cables, and you drop something, whatever. A lot of people like concrete. We say if you haven't poured yet, try to pour it like a pitcher's mound so that it's chamfered, so that when you put the building on, water and snow and stuff are running away, because unlike a deck, there's no drainage, there's no ventilation. So it tends to cool and sit, and there are heat sink in the sun and stuff. But I mean, you can use either. I have people come to me who have concrete decks or concrete bases. And they'll say, well, I'm going to put on the concrete. I'll say, would you consider putting a riser on your concrete? Why? Get some air going, get some heat, some cooling going, some ambient, some climate control. And if you don't do it right, any observatory, whether it's any observatory built just directly on concrete, if that's built wrong, now you got a dank, moist place for mold and other things and mildew to gather on your optics. So if you can, 12 by 12. That's what we are working on today. Overviews in CAD to publish, to put at the website and information, so people know what size to build their bases, to build their decks.
So ideally, 12 by 12, a good 12 by 12 deck.
12 by 12 is perfect, because I mean, what I'm in now is 12. If you didn't have as many bays, you got to. Well, it gives you the reason why I like it is it gives you a walk up. Like the wall is 8 feet, so if you build an 8-foot deck, if you don't have any bays, the door is at the edge of the deck. So you're like either walking up into it. It's a step. It's a thing. But if you build, let's say, a 10 by 12 or a 12 by 12, then you got a walk up. You got a landing. You can put a chair out there. Put a couple of chairs out there. You're waiting for the clouds to clear. It's a nice summer evening. You got a couple of Adirondack chairs out there beside the door. You're bringing a big daub in or something, and you set it beside the door. It's just nice to have, I call it a walk up. So a 12 by 12 in any material is going to work. Other questions?
Let's take a look. See, right now they're talking amongst themselves about it.
There was a question from Mark Ellis that I had sent to you there, Wayne. Maybe you could touch on it. He was asking if the Pod S could handle a Planewave L350 with a CDK14 on it.
Yes, but not with the wedge. Not wedge. You add the wedge to the L350, and the footprint is massive. You just tilt that sucker back, and you add. I even looked at more 450s, 550s, and stuff in our Pod Max, which is 12 feet, 11 and a half feet inside. You'd be hard pressed to put a 17 on, let's say, a 350. So you downsize that. Certainly no problem with an L350 on. With a 14.5. That's as big as you could go. And in fact, someone just put an L350 in a pod, just built a pod and put an L350 in it with a nice, one of those, what do you call them? Who's making the new 230, the carbon fiber? I forget, DM230 or something. Whatever it is. There's a new scope. It's a nice scope. He put that on there and he kept it low. That's the thing. You keep that. It's a huge fork. So you're the base of your pier. We've made piers for L350s that are 18 inches tall. In fact, the last guy I bought one, 12-inch pier, mounting plates, gussets, support gussets, and adapter plates. So that thing's way down there, and the scope is way at the top. So if I was in here, I would probably go for about a 2, maybe 3 foot tops pier with an L350 on it. But if you put a wedge on it, to draw back with those mounts, with the fork style mounts, you put a wedge. Like I said, you take that and imagine leaning that back you've just increased your circle of need by a lot. And it becomes probably every inch of this would be needed with a 14-inch with a wedge. But without a wedge, if you don't mind using a field rotator, then it'll work.
Do you still have the do you still use that you know, for the prospective customers, have that design that little program where you can design, where you can map everything out, like you can design
we need to find somebody to do that again. That was a pod owner in the UK. That's why it's in centimeters and it confuses people.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing.
Yeah. People will email me and say, I'll say it's centimeters. I go, okay, it's made by a guy in the UK. For those who don't know what it is it lets you determine location and size of your scope, basically height and movement around and clearance and stuff. It's a great little app. And we really do kind of need it for this. And partially, what we're doing today with finishing up our measurement, our bird's eye views and elevation views, it answers a lot of that because, for instance, we tell you, you got a diameter of 80 inches. So you know now, okay, if I know the size of my scope and where I'm going to put it. The interesting thing with the slotted dome, you can put the pier in the middle like this one is. It's in the center. You can offset it. The interesting thing is if mine is 10 inches offset to the south, and you and I are looking at the same thing, it just so happens that where I'm sitting right now, north is pretty well that way. Or, sorry, that way. But interesting. If I'm in the center, if my scope is like this one in the center, and I'm looking at something in the, let's say, northeast, high northeast, and your scope is 10 inches offset south, your ASCOM program, your planisphere program, or the program is deciding where your scope is pointing, is going to decide, I could be looking at it because I'm in the center. My slot may be open this way. So I'm looking at it from under, like from the openings going from let's say horizon up to past zenith. But since you're offset, and if it's a very high object, you may have, your dome may be 180 degrees turned to mine. You may be looking at it over the slot rather than under the slot, neither of which matters. But it works both ways. As long as our slot goes past zenith, you can almost have your pier at the wall, but you don't want to get that far off. But and by the way, for years people have been putting their we tell people offset your pier in a pod so that you can see zenith, so you can clear zenith, and they won't do it. They put it in the center, then they say I can't see zenith. So now all those people, great, you're in the center. That's where we prefer you to be, but you don't have to be for PodS.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's any other questions here.
Yeah, there was another question regarding the higher walls with the mine has a wedge now. Where is it? Can you get the higher walls with the standard dome?
Yes, that would be what we call a Mark II. So that is the original clamshell dome with the taller wall. Now it means you're going to need a two-step to open and close that dome, because right now you can do it. Most people can do it. It's low enough they can just grab it and open and close it. But now it's going to be up above your head. So now you got to open and close it. It's going to take a look. And there might be people calling me, let's say you're in their 70s or something, who've got shoulder problems and stuff, say, should I get the taller wall? And I'll say, you know what? Might not be the best idea, because maybe you should go for the motorized, or maybe you should stick with a shorter wall, because you're going to have to, it's not hard, but you still have to lift and pivot that clamshell Pac-Man-like mouth open and closed. And so we don't want anybody hurting themselves. But and right. I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of the things we worked on today was a question we get very often is, what is the door threshold height? The wall panel, the new wall panel and bays are 63 inches. The threshold of the door is about 5'7.5" from the floor to the threshold. So I'm just, well, with my shoes on, I guess I'm probably 6 feet or just under. I'm probably shrinking by now. And so I sort of tip my head. You know, you kind of tip your head when you go in. You bend a little. You don't have to bend over. Now compare that to the original wall, which is probably around 3.5 feet. So maybe 42 inches, something like that. Now we're going up to 57 inches. It's a big difference in height. And it means that if you have an original pod, it means that you basically almost, bend 90 degrees at the waist. we do a thing called the pod shuffle. You don't walk through the door straight. You walk through the door diagonally, and you get the gist of it. Once you've done it once you've done it a few times, you go in and out of your pod all night long. But it takes you sort of leading foot plants first, swivel under the door. Well, now it's a tip your head and you're inside. So that's one people want to know a lot. It's about 5'7", 5'7.5", yeah, the threshold.
Well, that's good to know, because that's definitely, one that was honestly for me, that was a little bit of a concern, is that, me being around, 5'10", I'm about 5'11", but still getting on, you have to crawl. Like, how do I get down here? But having these, I
agree. And people have actually said to me, people who were challenged, physically challenged, would say, well, I can crawl in there. I go, come on, we don't want you to have to crawl in there. But here's the thing. If your session is planned and you're serious about going out and doing it, you're generally not going in and out the door 20 times a night.
Right.
Maybe when it's new, maybe when you're building it. And so people go to help their buddy build it or their friend build it, and they're in and out, and then they go, oh man, I'd really like a taller door. But if you've got it planned, you got your coffee in your hand, you got whatever, and you head into the thing, you might be in there for 4 hours and you forget what it's like to go in and out. And very often you go in and out once, twice a night. So I hear you, because it's one of the reasons why we made a bigger wall, to make the doorway more accessible. And by the way, we can't go much higher. We can't go to 7 feet, because then all you got is zenith. That's it. And well, basically you can't see anything. So we've got to get that balancing act between down to, I'm probably going to get, now I'm going to use our pure extension and move this thing up a foot. And I'll get down to, I don't know, 15, 20 degrees above the horizon. But honestly, I'm never going to be imaging there. As an imager, unless it's something real special, it's a treat I can't get, it's some occurrence, it's a comet or whatever, I'm not going to be imaging down there. It's all about zenith. It's all about 30 degrees either side. That's where I want to be, maybe 40 degrees either side. That's going to be, and that's what this is really suited towards.
Speaking of comets, I'll have to admit, right now I'm actually this is my second full session of using Nina. I've been so using the ASI Air. I'm still using the simple sequencer right now. And I even called up Dan last night. I'm calling Dan, I'm talking to him like close to 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
because
I'm
I need
in
help.
bed watching Judge Judy, and here comes Eric.
Trying to get help with the autofocuser.
That's par for the course.
Yeah, and so
I'm laughing with Nina because I hear you, because 2-3 years ago when Nina first came out in the scene, and it was Sean who I heard about it from his videos, and it was really new at the time. You were already doing how-to videos and nightly build videos and stuff, Sean. And I thought, oh, okay, I'll go out and plug that in and do that. And like a couple hours later, I was like, okay, wait a minute, I'm imaging tonight. I'm going back to whatever I was using. I think I was using SkyX because it happens to run my Pod Max Dome, and SharpCap just to grab something. And I've never gotten to it truly because we've been so busy. I've been up here building this stuff. So I go back to tried and true, whatever works, no sequencing, nothing, just image, point solve, image. And so I'm laughing because I got my buddy Sean who's going to come up, and I'm going to go, have at it. Plug it Plug your numbers in, Sean.
Make it work.
Make it work.
Make it so I just have to change the numbers later.
Yes, you'll never have to go back.
As we've said, it'd be a win-win for us, because if we film it, and Sean will have a cameraman for a change, and I'll be able to chat, and because he'll be setting up Nina with the dome, so therefore he's going to learn something that he can't normally do in his videos and stuff because he hasn't got a dome, and he's going to learn a little bit more about Nina and get to publish a video about doing it. He's going to help us because we're going to be able to show people that video and say, here, do what Sean does. And get it all working. And we didn't really get into that tonight, but for those of you who haven't done it before, we again, in our endeavor to support you and not have you scratching your head too much, we show you a couple different ways. when you're setting up a scope in a dome for the first time that the dome is going to follow, Nina or the SkyX or SG Pro or other, what's the other?
We spoke about this.
Yes. You enter the numbers. You got to enter you got to calibrate the dome, and then you got to tell it how far it is and how far it is from your center axis. Again, we did last time we talked.
We spoke about the terminology too, about that.
Yes. And there is a lot of it, and the XY and the XYZ and all these things, and the double Y and the things. And so, and that'll be, again, more information that we'll impart as we do it to show you how to. But once you enter them into, like, it's done. You've calibrated. The dome itself can calibrate unless you change something, or you can tweak things. But once you've told it where your scope is, and of course, if you change your scope, you have to change your numbers. If you keep going from a small refractor to a large one, that changes your focal center away from the pivoting point. So those things have to be changed again. But normally, once it's set up, and if let's say it's set up for the season, like I'll do, set up, I'm not going to touch it again. The scope is going to follow, or the dome's going to follow the scope wherever it goes. But there is initial settings in Nina, and that's what Sean and I will be doing here. Is he's never done that before, and I've never done it with Nina. So I know what it needs. So we'll figure out. We'll get our measuring tape out. And
the two of us and a few beers, we'll get it figured out.
Oh, Nelly. Oh, Nelly.
yeah.
Well, I gotta blame Sean for my Nina exploits as well. And I guess it might have been about 2 years ago. I guess I was the SGP guy, and I was always about SGP. And then when SGP turned into a subscription-based thing, I kind of looked for another outlet. And Sean was like, "Oh, try Nina. It's pretty good. It'll work with your setup, whatever." So I tried it for about a week, and I'm like, screw this. I'm just gonna pay. I'm not gonna learn another piece of software. I'm not doing it. So all of a sudden, SGP was giving me a hard time, and I had to I didn't know SGP 4, 3, 3.5, all this crap going on with SGP. They weren't coming up with updates. Updates were coming out every 6 months instead of every 6 days, like Nina was. And so Sean's like, "Come on, you just gotta try it. Just do it. Just get it done." And now I'm a Nina convert. So 2 years later, and I only use Nina, and Sean helped me a ton. Thank you, Sean, with the advanced.
I got to do some update videos actually for Nina. I haven't been able to because I had a problem with the remote access to the telescope computer and stuff. So that's sort of been off the list of things to do, unfortunately. But when I first caught on to Nina, I was using SGP as well, and nothing wrong with SGP. It was great. It worked at the time and stuff, but I tried Nina, and I actually was like you, Dan. I didn't like it at first, and I went back to SGP, and then I thought, well, it wasn't the subscription model that drove me away from SGP. It just seemed like there were some things, like you said, updates weren't coming fast enough.
It slowly became irrelevant. And that was the downfall for me. I mean, the subscription was a big topic on the show 3 years ago, where we were like, what the hell are they doing? I mean, they have so much of a fan base. I mean, now that they're going to go.
Why are they going this route?
Yeah.
Why are they trying to pull off like it being Adobe or something? What is the need for that? Because I started out, with backyard EOS eventually, and then others like APT. Eventually I got SGP. And I was using it for quite a while until, the ASIR. I really started getting into the ASIR. But I was using SGP, but the moment they started talking about maybe 2-3 years ago, going into a subscription, then I'd have to spend extra money to keep up with this thing and and here I am. I'm already, I'm just a guy, a dad, we, middle class, we get budgets, we're just like anybody else. But to spend more money on that, it was just it started making me question it. And then when the ASIR came out, it is quote easy as 1, 2, 3. I was like, all right, so long SGP, thanks a lot. But
and
so
Eric
far,
and I always take. It's weird because me and Eric. The reason why me and Eric get along so much, I think we're like complete polar opposites.
Yeah, we're
it's
total.
like it's like he's the ASI Air, I'm the Eagle, he's APT, I'm Total Pictures. You know, it's totally different, and that's how the dynamic works with us.
That's cool though. Yeah.
And the same thing goes here, where I spoke about the subscription on the show and everything, but it really wasn't about. For me, I spend more money on Netflix than I did than the $59 or whatever it was a year for SGP. Not a big deal. The problem that I had with it was that with other programs out there that were just as, or if not more, functional and easier to use. I gotta say, and now that I know it, it's easier to use.
Yes.
For free.
Yeah, for free.
Yeah.
How do you say no to that? And how do you beat that as the and I know, Sean's talked before and I know Trevor Jones talks about it. He has a whole video about when he got into astronomy, he got into imaging, and he was using everything was free. Everything had to be free. And eventually it got to the point where it was limiting him because the free stuff wasn't doing. He eventually got on to some pay stuff, and I know the subscription stuff will drive us all crazy. Where it's like, I bought it already. No, you got to buy it every year. But I understand from a developer's point of view, if they're going to continue working on it all the time,
absolutely,
they're not advertising in there.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
But I think what Trevor's point was, and I tend to agree because I've been doing this for since there was computer programs for astronomy in the 80s, and
I was doing like Visual C++.
Well, it was the first Windows and DOS programs for astronomy, and because I was I was just a user. I built computers, of course, but I wasn't into programming. But the point is that there was always that, the trial version, it runs out, you buy it or you use, and you're always looking for, because it's a hobby and we're hobbyists. So we have a hobbyist mindset of if I can get it for free, it's more I can put towards that new eyepiece or whatever else. But Trevor's point, I think, I don't want to quote him out of place, and I think Sean has said this as well, is that astronomers, they go 9/10. They spend the mortgage on the mount and the scope and the thing, and then they want free software. And it's like, wait a minute, you spent $20,000 on all this gear, and now you want to use it for free. How about
it's a strange mentality.
It really is. It really is.
Gear. If you want the quality gear, you pay the money. If you want the quality software, you pay the money.
I got a Rasa 11. Or a Tech 160 on this huge mount in a dome and all this stuff in the middle of Long Beach Island, New Jersey at 8.5 million a house. You know what? I want to use Deep Sky Stacker and GIMP to fix everything.
Again, Sharp Cap doesn't want $20 a year. How dare they?
It's like, what is that? The Eddie Murphy thing. I know you, Seven.
You know what I love about? I was thinking the other day. In fact, I think Sean and I were talking about this a while ago. But I know I was thinking anyway that I thought with RC Astro, and you figure. Geez, a blur exterminator, noise exterminator, a star exterminator. Star exterminator, what are they? $49.95, $39.95.
Star and noise are $59, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's $69. But if you have one of the other ones, it takes $10 off.
He was giving you a discount.
So here's the deal. Let's say blur exterminator is so hot. Let's say 1,000 of us have bought that. Hats off to Russ, man. Quit your day job. You keep doing those, and get another thing. I mean,
that's actually what he did, though. He actually did quit his day job. Yeah, and he went full tilt into development and stuff.
Pay for it, John talked me into it.
There was a lot of when Blur Exterminator came out. There was a lot of people that were naysaying when
they were angry.
Noise. What's that?
They were angry. They were like, "It's
Yeah, they were.
cheating.
Yeah, like
It
that he was charging
cheating."
for this stuff, and
He's
I didn't really see the
cheating.
problem.
Yeah, it's like whatever.
I didn't hear so many complaints about the money. I heard about that. Oh my God! You know, you don't know what it's like to do deconvolution with this global dark and global light and D-ringing and all this stuff.
Those
Now
guys
you
used
got
to
it
go into the
easy.
dark room and do film. You know
Oh,
what I
yeah,
mean?
exactly. That's my point.
Chemicals,
And
how
you know,
far back can we take that argument?
it's all
You know?
evolution of the hobby. And
Yeah.
again, I hate using the word
Cool.
hobby because it sounds
Getting
like
better.
something stupid. This is a lifestyle that we deal with,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
things improve over
Yeah.
time. How would you feel? Let's think about this. And this is coming because my wife's a lawyer, so I kind of think like this sometimes. How would you feel if you got stuck with 35 millimeter film today?
Yeah.
How would you
Yeah.
feel about with
What
that
would you do?
without the invention of CCD, without the invention of CMOS,
Well, that's cheating.
without
That's
the
cheating.
invention of very soon to come out next generation CMOS chips with
Yeah.
double layer
Cheaters.
luminosity?
Cheaters.
I mean, come
Oh, you
on.
cheat.
I mean, this is how things evolve. So hardware
Yeah.
evolves,
Yeah,
you know,
and software
software
evolves.
evolves, everything evolves.
Yeah, it's great. It's the best. We love it. And for anybody, it's only those who put the time into doing it the other way go, oh, damn, it's cheating. But the new guy comes along and goes, oh, you push a button. And, it's about the end product. And again, I mean, some of it's about the journey, but you're still processing. You're still at your computer. You're still doing the thing. You're just using a tool to help you do it. And does it even the playing field? Yeah. And you know what? That's one thing I really like about this stuff is that guys who are getting into it new, you don't have to spend 3, 5, 10 years, whatever, learning processing after you've got good data. Once you learn to get your data, I'm seeing guys that are, because I see our owners all the time coming along. They get a pod, they get a camera, they start now they're semi-retired and they're out there constantly. And pretty soon, I watched it with Ron Breacher. Okay. I watched Ron Breacher. We built a shed for him. He put in a scope, and I watched him image and he got great. Well, I've watched that. I don't know. Have I watched it 1,000 times? Certainly, I've seen it hundreds of times, and I love it. And now it's even faster. I'm seeing guys who have the time, who can get the clear nights, who get out there, or who reprocess the data a few times, and before long, I'm seeing great stuff from guys who've been doing it, let's say, less than a year. So is it cheating? No, it's not cheating. It's again, they're using the tools at hand. They're learning to use the new tools.
Exactly. When they're educating themselves, they're learning, they're improving, and so no, it's not cheating. What Russell is doing, it's not cheating. It's nothing close.
It's
to
a
cheating.
tool. It's like giving them a pair of eyeglasses.
He's a freaking AI that's learning.
Yeah.
It's all a learning process.
When they invented eyeglasses, people say, well, that's cheating. If you got bad eyes on the eyeglasses, and you go, oh, that's cheating. Well, he's giving us eyeglasses.
You know what? Thank you.
Yeah.
I can see. I'm cheating.
Yeah. Hey, you're cheating. You're cheating, man.
Exactly.
Lord. I couldn't believe it when I started this
call me
video.
Julius Joe Jackson now because I can see and I'm cheating.
It's true though.
God.
It's absolutely true that I couldn't believe it when I heard there was a thing about that. Like the people were saying, "Oh, it's cheating." It's like when I got a Hyperstar, and then people would say, "Well, some people think Hyperstars are cheating." Like what? I'm making my scope faster. I'm making
how in the world is having a Hyperstar or a Rasa cheating? It can actually be harder.
Yeah, there's elements to it, tilt and all kinds of
there's even more elements to it. You got to deal with tilt and everything else. Yeah. It's just like, whatever.
Some people give up on
Sean,
it. Yeah.
I know. Sean, I got a Nina question for you.
Shoot.
Why does Nina have the ability like my ASI Air? If I went onto my iPad or whatever, I'm on the ASI Air, and say something, I'm looking at these comments, right? I'm looking at the comment and say it's a little off center frame, right? It's a little off center frame. On my iPad, I can actually press on that target or that area of the sky and say, go, and then go here, and then the mount will slew to wherever I point. Do you know if Nina has something like that where I can go to an image and I can click on that area and it'll slew?
No.
I gotta work on that.
Not that intuitive. However, you could sit there and you could actually do it through a planetarium software like Solarium.
Yeah.
Where you could click on the screen and you could no matter where you click on the screen, Solarium, as long as you have it hooked up right, you could actually pull the coordinates already in the deck in from Stellarium to use that in your sequence.
And then go to it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But that's the only way to do it.
Yeah, that's the only way. Yeah.
It's one of the things we discussed because we could make the software available to ASI to add. They can add a tab to ASI Air so now you can control your dome. Even if you make it basic control, open, close, go to north, track scope, this kind of stuff. Maybe not every feature, but it's the kind of thing where we're willing to reach out to work with other companies and people bring us to them. Or when I'm talking to our software guru, James, he was saying, well, I'll package it up, and anybody can, Pegasus, Astro, whoever wants to, Eagle, whoever's got a BISC, if you've got a dedicated astronomy computer doing all these things, handling all your stuff, well, we'll make it so that you can add that, because I know a lot of our owners are ASI Air. I hear that a lot, and we'd like to make it so we can control all your other stuff except your dome. We're open to working with others, and we'll give them that. We'll give them that software, the software they need to be able to do that. Because, and one of the things we talk about is the fact that like those are go-to type programs, go to an object. And as you guys are just discussing planetariums, that's what a dome uses. Right. It's like that's why the SkyX has always been one of the main dome programs, control programs, because you can link both and you're using planetary. So when you say go here, they both go there. You can pick that piece out of the sky and just click on that, that square, that whatever it is, and just go there. I just realized I've got an hour journey ahead of me. I'm not home, of course. I'm up at the Bat Cave, and it's a winter's night out there. It's probably blowing. It's sauce for the goose. That's what I say. And I'm hitting Domino's on the way home, and I think that Domino's closes at midnight. So
as long as it's not pizza.
No, you don't like pizza.
As long as it's not Little Caesars pizza.
No.
Pizza Canadian thing.
Pizza. It's a Canadian.
Oh,
thing.
pizza. Oh, it's a different.
I gotta tell you,
this is not. It's a party. This is pizza, and gotta say, I walked for like 3.5 miles to get Rush beer. I wanted Rush beer,
right?
And I found
pizza.
There's a random place, and I don't know. It's like a liquor store. It's like LCBQ.
LCBO. That's the government.
LCBO.
Liquor Control Board of Ontario.
So the only one that was around, I stayed at one Kings Park, whatever that hotel over there.
You mean you're talking downtown Toronto?
Yeah.
And you went to a pizza there, and it wasn't good?
No, well, I had to walk all the way up to like this circle in the square up in main Toronto to get to this. Yeah. I had to pass like 2 LCBOs to get to the one that had the Rush beer. So I had to go all the way out there, and on the way back, I was so hungry, I stopped at a pizza. So I said, "Let me get a slice. Let me try it out."
Yeah,
not a fan.
Now you know what? I'm in a town called Palmerston, and they have an Exxon or an Esso station. It has a pizza in it, and I was like, "Oh!" Now I know pizza. Okay, I know the Naples style. I know the Chicago style. I'm mostly, if you are what you eat, I'm mostly pizza. I've eaten pizza all over the world. I've eaten pizza in Italy. I've eaten pizza in California, in New York, in New Jersey, and
you have so you haven't had Brooklyn. You haven't had Brooklyn pizza.
Is a Brooklyn like a Naples, like a flat? Which I love. By the way,
listen, it's not about it's flat. It's Neapolitan style. Okay, but
lots of sliced meat, not the big dollar store pepperonis.
No, but you know what? there's a place, and it's not even in Brooklyn, it's in Long Island. It's a place called Ancona, and this place is so good that they don't have to deliver. They don't deliver. They don't do DoorDash. They don't do anything. It's only pickup. It's only, and they use these little pepperonis that are like this.
Yeah.
That curl up and catch all the
yeah.
sauces and the grease and the nastiness that's in
Beautiful.
there. Oh, it's great. And you take a
Beautiful.
bite and it goes down the side of your mouth. And
Oh,
oh my
that's
God,
the
it's
best.
like, it's totally horrible.
I want to apologize.
I was waiting for it.
I just want to say this. I'd like to apologize on behalf of all Canadians because it didn't do it justice. And I know pizza, and I've had one of my favorite pizzas. We used to have a good, it's the place, it's the oven, it's the chef, it's the ingredients, certainly.
It's the
But
water.
when
It's the
they
water
built the
that
pizza
makes the
up here, and I
dough.
went in,
That's
it was
what
the
it
worst
is.
pizza. Yeah, I hear
You got to
So we're
have
back
the
on the rail.
contaminated,
Yeah, I'm going to
crappy
get some
water
pie.
of New York
I'm
to
starving.
enjoy the
Yeah.
pizza.
Yeah, I hear you. It's the lead in the pipes and everything.
It's the
Just that-
lead and the
that
freaking
extra,
paint
the
chips and
chlorine.
the hypodermic needles and all that stuff that you find.
It adds to the juice, Okay, well, thank you very much for having me. And
Really, thank you,
Yeah.
man. Really.
No,
Yeah, I
thanks
know-
for coming on, Wayne. You're always welcome on the show, and thanks,
Thank
Sean,
you.
also for introducing you to the show.
Thank you,
and,
Sean.
And
Yes.
it's great to have both of you on. You guys are always been, from Sean's been a fan of the show from day one.
Oh yeah, me too.
Wayne.
too.
I mean, it's great to have you on as part of the AstroWorld family as well. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And if I can, when I leave you, something I didn't mention was Astronomy Technology Today magazine. Stuart Parkinson at that published a cover article on PodS last week. But even better than that, he's given away. He said to me, "Give this code to anybody you like. Give it to 1 million people for a free year subscription to ATT magazine." And in fact, all you got to do is go to Astronomy. I'm just going to tell you right now. I'll have the information on our website, but go to Astronomy Technology Today. Just Google it, magazine. Go to subscribe. Actually, watch this. If I do this and I do this.
Here we go.
Go there. Go to subscribe. Down here it says, if you have a coupon, click here. You type in pod-s, all caps, pod-s. Gives you a year's subscription to a Gearhead mag. Not only was Stuart nice enough to do really nice stuff for us last month, but I don't know if you can see. No, you can't see unless I log in.
I can't see it.
But my point is, if you're into astronomy gear, if you're an active imager and you're an active astronomer, you gotta want to read. It reminds me of the old days of S&T and astronomy. It's full of manufacturers and dealers. Ads, great articles about the latest filters, the cameras, the mounts, reviews, stuff. It's a must read as far as I'm concerned. It's been around for 16, 17 years, and Stuart's been a great supporter, a great friend to SkyShed. And he said, "Hey, here's a free year's subscription, and to top that off, after a year's over, it's $6 a year for a monthly magazine that's got all the latest. It's not ads. It's not just ads about the mount. It's a review of the mount or a comparison of the mount or the scope or the software or anything. And it's like you can't be an active astronomer and have Astronomy Technology Today magazine missing from your life. And there it is, free. There it is. There you go.
I put it on the chat.
Beautiful. We're going to add it. We're going to get a PDF of a couple of articles. Stuart was so nice. He said, "Wayne, I'm giving you the cover article for January for PodS." I said, "Great." He said, "Plus, I'm giving you another 9 pages for your images, and I'm showing, I'm producing or publishing the retro article taken the same time when you were developing Pod." I said to him, "Thank you very much, man." But as soon as I opened it up and saw my images converted to PDFs. Like we're talking, clipping, man. Because what is he throwing tar at that stuff? What is that? What's going? Too bad, but at least it represents to some degree. But I'm very thankful to him. But I wanted to get that in there because that's free. It's free for everybody. It's a great magazine, great reads, And I love, again, you can just cruise through the ads, because it used to be manufacturers like me and other, you know, astronomy manufacturers. They filled the pages of S&T and astronomy. And over the years, it just became, with the internet and stuff, it didn't make sense to pay thousands of dollars a month to have an ad in S&T astronomy. So the dealers left. There's some of the bigger manufacturers, or more manufacturers are there, but a lot of the little third-party guys, the people that make specialty software left. Well, guess what? Now they're in magazines like Astrophotography magazine. They're in other niche, let's say, magazines. But there it is for free. So take it, grab it, read it. And it's accessed back to every issue from back to 2007. So if you've got a mount that's a few years old or something, you want to see a review, what originally came out, it's all there.
That's awesome.
There you go. So a gift, my gift, his gift through me to you.
That's awesome.
Appreciate it.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Pod-S all caps, right?
It really is.
Pod S, all cap, pod hyphen S. Otherwise,
hyphen S. All caps.
All caps. That's your coupon code, and you got a year of free episodes, monthly episodes, or issues, I should say.
Well, speaking of coupons, we do have to do one giveaway real quick before we get out of here. We have a $50 gift certificate to Woodland Hills that we got to give away tonight.
Nice.
So you know, if you hey, listen, we know this gear costs a lot of money, and Woodland Hills gives us some stuff that we could give away. So we're gonna give it away, $50 for Woodland Hills for your next purchase over there, and we'll put this on the screen real quick. And if I can find, here we go. There's the Woodland Hills, the famous Sean Nielsen Wheel of Fortune. So I even added a graphic in the middle for Woodland Hills, and that's their graphic. So it turns out I just updated the wheel tonight. We're up to 129 people on the wheel. So not our highest number of people, but pretty darn close. So 129 people on this for a $50 gift certificate to Woodland Hills. Here we go. Rolling the wheel. There we go. I love this thing. It's so much fun.
Cool.
And the winner is just past Amy Little.
Oh,
Will Bradley. Will Bradley. He is actually a member of my astrophotography club on Long Island. So he Bill, if you're watching, you get a $50 gift certificate to Woodland Hills. So congratulations. Thank you so much.
Cool.
Congratulations.
Very cool. Yes, congratulations on that, Bill.
There you go.
Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot for having me. I love the show. Continue to grow. I will continue to tell everybody about it. I told our pod owners in our discussion group last night, I said, watch it now or watch it later. I'll be on tomorrow night. I said, barring technical difficulties. So you probably had a few pod owners, and they'll get to it. They know that.
Oh, there was a bunch of pod owners all the way back to a Pod XL2 owner that was in the chat.
Cool. Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, and other SkyShed, I guess, owners as well. But yeah, thanks for having me. And I'd be just as happy, like I said, to come back anytime and just talk about imaging and hear you guys talk. But I love the show, and please keep doing it. Keep it up. And it's a valuable resource. And of course, all the best to you, Eric. Happy birthday, Dan and Sean. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm looking forward to you. I always look for that next video to drop. I'm learning something today.
I got a video coming out probably in the next couple days. It's going to be the ASI Air Mini versus the ASI Air Pro, and finding out what's the differences between the two.
That.
It's just about finished. Just a little bit of graphic touch-ups, and it'll be out high within a week. So
great to see.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Again, guys, really appreciate the time.
Pleasure.
Thanks for having us. Yeah,
I love having you guys. You know, you both are, Sean, Wayne. You guys are always welcome to come on whenever you want. Just
thanks a lot.
You both have my number. You both have my info. Just text me up and say, "Hey, I'm ready." And
we got some stuff we want to let you guys know about. We like, hey, come on over.
Yeah, please do. And I'd like to update you, like I said, every now and then, even if it's for a few minutes, just to say if I got something to show you. We're rolling them out. They're starting to be used and stuff, so you can see them in action and stuff. So
yeah, Wayne, just text me.
I hope
let
you
me
have
know.
a great Dan.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Thank
Happy
you.
birthday, man.
All right,
It
guys.
means a lot.
Okay.
All right,
Cheers.
everybody.
All
Well, have a
Cheers,
good
guys.
night, everybody. Take care.
Yeah.
We're at 2.5 hours now. Oh my God. Everybody, have a good night. Don't forget to vote for Image of the Week, Image of the Month, all that stuff. Get your votes in. We had, what was it, 92 votes for Image of the Month last
Nice.
month? Holy
Nice.
cow.
Keep it coming, guys.
Yeah,
Make
keep
it happen.
coming.
Make it happen. Keep it
You know, the IP blocker's working. So for those of you people that are like using 18 different devices from your own house, I'm catching you. You know, it's a lot of fun. We got a lot of good. We got great. The images have gotten out of control.
Beautiful.
Out of control compared to like the first time we did it. You know, they were okay, but they weren't like, they were good, but they weren't like good.
They're cheating, man.
What's up?
They're cheating.
Yeah, we all blame it on Russ. It's all Russell's fault.
It's all the
Russell's
software.
fault.
It's all the software, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm all right with it. It's fine.
We're good with that.
Yeah. So everybody,
Thanks,
have a
guys.
great night. Have a
All
good
the
night. Thank you all for watching us. Don't forget our next live guest will be Steve Malia on the 8th. And that's going to be, I hope I'm pronouncing his name. Am I pronouncing his
That's right.
name?
Yeah,
you are.
Okay.
Great guy. Great guy.
Yeah,
Great
so
DJ.
Starfield Optics. Sean's got a ton of Sean, if you want to come on again next week
Sure.
with Steve, you're more than welcome to come. Just you know.
Sounds good.
All right, cool. So
All right,
guys.
again, everybody have a good night. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hitting the like button. And remember, as always, to keep imaging, keep educating, and clear skies. And we'll see you we'll see you in 2 days, Friday.
See you on Friday.
Take care.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.